back the way I can. I'm trying hard where I'm living to bring the people together, white and black. I want to stand for something, whatever is good for the black athlete and the white athlete.
Tonight, ESPNU College Football, presented by Citi, comes to the house built by the legendary coach Eddie Robinson. We're at Robinson Stadium for a key SWAC matchup as the Tigers of Grambling State University host the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M, the defending SWAC champs. Hello again, everyone. Along with my partner, Jay Walker, I'm Charlie Neal, and welcome to Grambling. And when you look at these two teams coming in tonight, Jay, they both come in with a 1-0 record in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, but more importantly, the winner tonight takes a giant step toward winning their respective divisions.
Although both teams have gotten off to great starts, this is what you call a key matchup game. Whoever wins this game will have an upper hand in terms of making it to the SWAC championship. Both of these teams come in here with questions that remain to be answered, and it's one of those questions that can only be answered when you're playing a team that's in the top tier of your conference.
And when you talk about this game, it's the story of two quarterbacks, the two top quarterbacks in the SWAC, starting with Kelsey Luke, the senior, and the veteran from Alabama A&M.
And Kelsey Luke has been a great surprise for the Alabama A&M coaching staff. They knew they had an established leader, but they did not know he was going to put on the offensive fireworks that he has thus far this season. 10 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. Right now, he's my vote for the Black College Offensive Player of the Year.
Ironically enough, that Kelsey Luke was not named to any preseason all-conference team. But his counterpart tonight, we're talking about the Grambling quarterback, Brandon Landers, the number 2 passer in the SWAC, was named to the second preseason team.
And I think the reason why he was named that team is because experience under fire. Brandon Landers played as a true freshman. He waited his time behind Bruce Eugene, and now it's his time to shine. He's one of the most gifted quarterbacks in this conference. The question is, can he get them over the hurdle when you talk about a championship here down at Grambling State? Because this is Grambling. At the end of the day, they don't measure the team by the records. They measure the team by the championship won.
And Brandon Landers will get an opportunity to go first as they get the opening kickoff. As you look at Anthony Jones, the head coach in his 9th year as a head coach, 6th year as the head coach at Alabama A&M, and his counterpart in his 1st year at Grambling State University, Rod Broadway, who was the defending black national champion coach of North Carolina Central University in the CIAA a year ago, and he has his team off to a 1-1 start. Should be a very interesting ball game as Alabama A&M won the toss but deferred, and they will kick off, go on defense first. Grambling in their home black and gold jerseys will get the opening kickoff. Comes down to the 17-yard line and stumbling and trying to get to the outside on the return and out to about the 33-yard line. Grambling, that's where they will go to work. First down and 10 at their own 33. And Brandon Landers, the redshirt junior out of Monroe, Louisiana, about 35 miles down the road from where we are, a product of Carroll Hyde. You see the stats on him so far this year. 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he had a 69-yard touchdown pass against Alcorn State in their opening win, 31-10. It is first down and 10 for the Tigers of Grambling State University. Frank Warren is in the backfield, the lone setback. Abney, the man in motion, and Warren gets the call, and Warren gets good yardage out across the 40 and close to a first down. And let's check out the Dick's Sporting Goods starting lineups. The backs and receivers for the Tigers is Cornelius Walker, Corey Patterson in the backfield. The receivers, Clyde Edwards, Kavaris Hills, and Reggie Jackson. The down linemen, Everett Edwards, Reve Smith, Tavares Cockrell, Muhammad Kareem, and Randall Bennett. It is second down. They'll call it 1 for the Tigers. And again, they give it to Warren, and Warren gets the first down, plenty to spare, and he's into the Alabama A&M territory, down to the 49-yard line. The Alabama A&M defensive lineup presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The down linemen, Christopher Traylor, Ronaldo Askew, Whitney Garrett, and Dominique Cummings. The linebackers, Avery Mullen, a good one in the middle, along with Carlton Rice and Antonio Nelson. And you see the secondary there of Tucker, McLean, Donaldson, and Thomas. It is first down and 10 for the Tigers. They started at their own 33. They've crossed midfield, and they're keeping it on the ground. They're running on every play right now. So they're trying to establish that running game, Jay.
I think every team that plays Alabama A&M in a Bronski Counts coach defense tries to establish a running game. One thing about Alabama A&M, they're very small on the defensive front. They've only got one defensive lineman that weighs over 260 pounds. So every team comes out, they always try and establish a running game. And early on, Grambling State's having a lot of success.
We'll call it 2nd and 7. Brandon Landers has not thrown a pass in this drive, but now he's looking to go to the air. And this one is thrown out of bounds. I think there was a miscommunication between him and his receiver, Tim Abney.
And that's one of those things where you come out and you run the ball, and then once Alabama A&M makes a stop on you running the football, you try and go to your passing game. And when you're going to take on this Alabama A&M defense, you need your quarterback to be efficient. You don't have to hit him with the big play down the field, but you need him to pick up those 2, 3, 4 yards per attempt every time he throws the ball.
So a shot of Rod Broadway as you look at the numbers on Brandon Landers so far this year. 5 touchdowns. He has thrown 3 interceptions, though. On 3rd and 7. Going to the air, wide open, first down. Good catch, good hit. And it was Clyde Edwards on the reception. And he gets the first down and moves the chains inside the 35 to the 34.
I really like the job of Brandon Landers sticking this ball in here. And Clyde Edwards, knowing he's going to get hit, still holds on to the football anyway. All you young football players out there, catch the ball anyway, because even if you drop it, you're still going to get hit. Clyde Edwards showing senior leadership, coming down with the big grab.
Big catch for Clyde Edwards, number 3 scorer in the SWAC with 18 points. 7th all time as far as the SWAC is concerned in receiving. This one comes to the near side, and it's Bird rather. Or is that Bird or Reggie Jackson? That's Reggie Jackson on the reception this time. Yeah, number 15, the senior out of Birmingham Parker High.
They're just trying to get the ball to him in space. Reggie Jackson comes into this game averaging 20 yards per catch. So he's got that home run hitting, game-changing ability if you can get him the football in space. Look at this formation, unique. They came out with the last formation. I haven't seen it, never seen that before.
It's like a double I on the receiver side.
On the receiver side.
And they keep it on the ground this time, and they go straight ahead with Cornelius Walker getting the call that time. Or was that Warren? Warren. It's Warren. He's been in there, 23. Frank Warren, freshman out of Pleasant Grove, Alabama. Kind of interesting that all these running backs that they have on this Grambling squad are either true freshmen or redshirt freshmen.
They're young, and then they're younger. So you've got a redshirt freshman, and that's the oldest running back they've got in the backfield. But they've got to learn sooner or later, and that's what happens when you become pass happy. It's hard to recruit running backs to stay in your program.
Corey Patterson, the up back in the eye. Warren gets the call on the draw, and Warren is struggling for yards. That was a 3rd down play. And that'll bring up a 4th down and about 1.
That's what's so amazing about this Alabama A&M defense. I mean, time and time again for years, you wonder how can you stop teams 3rd and short, 3rd and 4th, and they have such inability to run the football, and they're stunt, their formation. They bait you into running up the middle, and they're so quick that they get to the gap once you game plan to attack the gap.
They're going for it on 4th down. They're 1 of 5, and now they're going to call a timeout. That is Brandon Landers will come over and talk things over with Coach Rod Broadway. And it's kind of interesting, 1 of 5 in 4th down conversion so far this year, 20%. But they have the ball in great field position. Of course, they're down at the 26-yard line, and they have about 2 yards to go for a 1st down.
You know, and obviously not having too much confidence in their kicking game. We saw their kickers early in the pregame, and they were missing from this range. So Rob Broadway trying to let these Grambling folks know in his home opener what to expect. Not a laid-back offensive attack. This is an offensive attack. They really are aggressive, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do in this 4th and short.
Well, what's on tap today as we go through our telecast here from Grambling, Louisiana? We'll have a tribute to Eddie Robinson, the legendary coach. We'll check in with the first black quarterback to come out of Grambling and get a start in the National Football League, Shaq Harris, a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars front office, and the Bulldogs looking to make it 4-0. They're 3-0 for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, they are. You know, you could do a tribute to Eddie Robinson week in and week out. I mean, what a legendary figure. So fitting that we're going to pay honor to him here in the home opener for the Grambling State Tigers.
From the shotgun, they're going to go for it on 4th down. And end around, they're trying to get to the corner, getting the 1st down with plenty to spare. Reginald Jackson, and out of bounds at the 22-yard line, but getting the 1st down. A gain of about 4. He needed 2.
That was a scary 1st down to pick up. I mean, if you think about it, he had to turn on the Jets, and what they didn't do was run straight at him. They tried to go sideline to sideline. This is a very quick team here, and you see they were just 1 man away. If Christopher Taylor was able to get free right there, they might have got away with the hold for Grambling State, but Christopher Taylor, the defensive end, gave away outside contain. Otherwise, they would have had that place stuffed.
1st down and 10 at the 22 of Alabama A&M. Pretty good drive here for the Tigers to open the game, and they have it complete on the far sideline to Abney. And Tim Abney, the graduate student from Monroe, Louisiana, from Neville High. He's already completed his undergraduate work and has a degree in business management.
You know, Tim Abney is one of those guys where 6'1", 210 pounds, as you see there, but he's the tight end. You know, to me, he's just a 4th wide receiver.
Yeah.
You rarely see him down there, you know, getting in a 3-point stance all the time. And he's got the one-on-one matchup against linebackers all day long. So he's that 4th wide receiver for the Tiger offense.
Warren is in the backfield as Landers works from the shotgun on 2nd down and 5. Landers stands in there, throws, has it, touchdown, Clyde Edwards.
What a great throw by Brandon Landers in the face of pressure, knowing that he was going to get rocked. Stood in there tall. You'll see the pressure here. Look at Brandon Landers, eyes downfield. Christopher Taylor coming around. 3 Bulldog defenders there for the Brandon Landers sandwich. But let me tell you something, as a quarterback, you don't mind getting hit that hard if the end result's going to be a touchdown for your team.
Clyde Edwards, and now for the point after, Tim Manuel is on to do it. He is perfect in PATs this year. This one is up, and it is good. 7-0. Grambling draws first blood here against the defending SWAC champs. 10:33, the time remaining here in the 1st quarter. Grambling on the board by way of a pass. ESPNU College Football, presented by Citi. Let's get it done. We're at Robinson Stadium on the campus of Grambling State University. And we're in Grambling, Louisiana, along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal here. And Grambling taking it all the way down the field, a 67-yard drive, opening kickoff, and they put 7 points on the board, and they take the lead 7-0. And one of the things I know Anthony Jones is concerned about, they've had trouble winning here in Grambling. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the track record, I think even the past 2 years, their record against Grambling is something. They scored the offense. They've been outscored 89-6. Yeah, 44-0 2 years ago when they were here. So, although they've had some success, it hasn't come against Grambling. So this is a tough place to go on a road trip. So, this is the measuring stick game as we talked about in the open. Anthony Green on the return for Alabama A&M, and he brings it out to the 35-yard line. And so that's where Alabama A&M will go to work 1st down and 10. Of course, when you win the toss and you defer, you always figure your defense is playing so well, maybe if you can hold them and then you get a short field to play with. But as it was, Grambling went all the way down the field. As you look at Kelsey Luke, the 5th-year player, 5th-year senior out of Phoenix City, Alabama. Started his college career at Auburn, and he's going to pass on 1st down. This one batted in the air or hit one of the defensive linemen, looked like in the head. Let's look at the Dick's Sporting Goods starting lineups for the backs and receivers for Alabama A&M with Ulysses Banks, a good one. At 1 running back, Janarian McWhorter is the full back. The receivers, Charles Moody, Thomas Harris, and Nate Baxter. And up front, Darius Turner, Russell Jackson, Xavier Manuel, Charles Meade, and James Sanders. 2nd down and 10. Pass incomplete. Trying to hit the big tight end, John Smith, number 80. Let's look at the Dick's Sporting Goods defensive line for the Grambling Tigers. Scroggins, Matthews, Jason Banks, and Christian Anthony are the down linemen. The linebackers for the G-men of Grambling, John Carter, Keith Hall, and Zaire Wilborn. And the secondary, Keith O'Neill, Jeffrey Jack, DeMichael Dizer, and Nigel Copeland. And now we have a penalty flag that's going to go down. Looks like an illegal procedure. Our referee tonight, George McCullum, the referee. Overcast skies, some rain possibly threatening here at Grambling. Not too humid or hot. The weather's pretty good.
Depends on what you're used to. You know, if you're coming from the West Coast, you could argue it's a little sticky here with the humidity in the air. But no, it's a great day to play football. And a tremendous environment. You can tell, you know, the whole town of Ruston is ready for the Tigers home opener.
It is their home opener. 3rd down and 15, facing Alabama A&M, and Kelsey Luke working from the shotgun under pressure now, and he just throws this away. He was out of the pocket, so he won't get a penalty flag. But what the pressure was put on by the G-men's defense, and Cliff Yoshida, there you see number 90 coming off the field there for them. That's Christian Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, you got 3 Tiger linemen that got penetration in the backfield. They actually had a blitzing linebacker that didn't even get there. So anytime you've got the defensive lineman flushing your quarterback out, that means there's a breakdown in the protection, or they're just getting beat mano-a-mano on the line of scrimmage.
Kylar is the deep man to punt it away. The deep man for Grambling is Reginald Jackson for the return. He already has made his presence felt in this ball game. And this one will take an Alabama A&M bounce, and it goes out of bounds right at the 20-yard line. And don't forget to join host Lowell Galindo and analyst Mike Gottfried and Tom Luganbill for Inside the Polls, where you get the most in-depth look at the college football polls, plus a weekly Heisman watch. All that and more. It comes your way on ESPNU Inside the Polls, presented by 76 on Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And for more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Grambling getting the ball for the 2nd time today. They'll get it at their own 21-yard line, and they lead it by a score of 7-0. Brandon Landers 4-5 in that first drive, 40 yards, and the touchdown of 17 yards to Edwards. 1st down and 10. This time it's Walker getting the call. The first series, it was Frank Warren at the running back. This is another freshman. This young man is out of Mays High in Atlanta, Georgia. And in high school down in Atlanta, he scored 16 touchdowns, ran for 1,570 yards in his senior year last year.
He's a good one there. And you talk about a fresh new crop of running backs. Looks like Graham's going to go from pass-happy university to, hey, we're going to learn how to run this rock with this talented group of freshman running backs that they have.
Gain of 3 on the last play. 2nd down and 7. Going to the air is Landers. Throws, has it complete. 1st down.
Got script.
And then the ball comes loose. They had the 1st down, and it was a fumble. Steven Tucker, I think, took the ball away.
Wow, that's what happens when you squeeze that ball in there between 3 Bulldog defenders. You'll see Landers here drop back. He does a good job getting the pass in there, but he's surrounded by 3 Bulldogs, and wow, Stephen Tucker just doing Johnny on the spot, doing what you're taught to do. Once you slow down his momentum, pull the ball away, turnover, and a big break for the Bulldogs.
It is a big break for Alabama A&M at the 27-yard line of Grambling. 1st down and 10.
From the GSU 27-yard line.
Luke going to the air, throws it, little swing pass out of the backfield, and still on his feet is Ulysses Banks. And Ulysses Banks, some quick feet that he has. And well, I'll tell you, you remember him from the SWAC championship a year ago, in which he ran a kickoff back 99 yards. He actually did a 90-yarder against Alabama State. 99 yards was what he did against Southern during the season. So we had 2 kickoff returns for long gains last year.
Yeah, what Banks has done, he's transformed his game. He was just primarily a return specialist. Now he's their featured running back there, and he's averaging over 9 yards a carry. So get the football to him any way you can.
And you see that stat, 45 points a game. That's amazing for this Alabama A&M team, as Kelsey Luke looks like a broken play, or maybe he just purposely took it out of the belly of the running back and decided to keep it, takes it down to the 19-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 2. But you look at that 45 yards a game. Last year they averaged what,
23 points a game.
Yeah, they averaged 22 point edge over last year.
How long will it last? I mean, the 45 points per game, and you can win any conference in America if you can keep that up. Now, realistically, it will come down as you start to play teams that you're more familiar with, but they're very excited about their offense in Huntsville. They think that they've got the best offense in the conference, and they're going to let it go.
This is incomplete on 3rd down. and 2. They went for with an empty backfield, and Thomas Harris was the intended receiver, and they can't connect. Let's see if they have any confidence in the field goal kicker, who is Jeremy Lycia. He has not missed this year. He's 1 of 1 in his only attempt. That was a 25-yarder against Mississippi Valley. This will be a 37-yard attempt. Lycia. The kick is up, has the distance, looks like it is good. So Jeremy Lycia puts Alabama A&M on the board. They take advantage of the turnover, and it's a 7-3 ball game here at Robinson Stadium on the campus of Grambling State University in Grambling, Louisiana, with 7:37 remaining first quarter.
Are these numbers right?
And it comes your way Thursday night. It's a MEAC matchup. Spartans of Norfolk State travel to Greensboro, North Carolina to take on the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. It's Thursday primetime college football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings on ESPNU at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And for more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal. Always good to come to Robinson Stadium, Jay. I did the first game ever in this particular stadium back in 1983, 25 years. This is a home opener here in 2007. Who would have thunk it in '83 that I'd be back here 25 years later?
And the place still looks good.
It does.
In terms of Black College, this is the Fenway Park, so to speak, the Wrigley Field. I mean, I remember the hype and the hoopla that went into this place when it was first being built. At the time, I believe it was the largest on-campus facility for a Black college in terms of stadium-wise that was actually on the campus. So always great to come back here and pay homage to America's Black college football team, you can say, Grambling State University.
No question. From their own 39-yard line after a good kickoff return, Grambling with good field position now and leading by 4 points, 7-3 in the first quarter. They took their opening drive, drove all the way down the field, scored. They fumbled the last time they had the ball. This time they completed out in the flat. And again, Reggie Jackson has been a very busy receiver so far today. Makes this a 7-yard gain out to the 45-yard line.
It's interesting watching the play call selection by Grambling State. When you talk to Coach Broadway about the offensive style, he said he had to tell Brandon Landers, look, although we throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage more than you're used to doing it, your yards are going to be there. Do what I ask you to do. Brandon Landers was so used to throwing the ball vertically down the field. That's why he was a 50% passer. He said you're going to be a 60% passer and you're going to have just as many yards.
Again, the catch by Reginald Jackson, trying to stretch for the first down, fumble again, but they're going to say he was down and the ground caused the fumble, so they're going to mark the ball maybe right about a yard or half a yard shy of the first down marker. They'll have to get to the 49. They're marking it at the 48.
I'm going to take a look here at the end of this run, and looks like it was a good call. Yeah, that ball came out. He was just trying to get that extra yard out there. Great call by the officials, but you see what we're talking about with the passing game that Coach are always talking about. You know, you get the ball to a guy like Reggie Jackson in space 3 times in a row, he's going to get that first down for you, and sooner or later he's going to hit you for the home run ball too.
Warren in the backfield on 3rd down and 1. Warren has the ball. Warren has the first down across midfield and finally drug out of bounds on the Grambling sideline, but not before he got down to the 42-yard line and picked up the first down.
Take a look here at the left side, on the right side of your screen, number 80, Tim Abbey, the tight end. We say we don't give him credit for blocking, but because he holds his block there so long on the outside linebacker over Antonio Nelson, that was able to spring the running back, Frank Warren, there and allow the Tigers to pick the first down. So although we say Tim Abbey's their 4th wide receiver, he knows how to get his blocking assignment done when called upon.
Reginald Jackson in the slot to the top of the screen. Clyde Edwards in motion, and they fake the end around and they keep it on the ground. And here's Warren still on his feet and finally brought down, but not before he picks up about 13, 14 yards inside the 30 to about the 27-yard line. And what a job the Grambling Tigers are doing tonight on the ground.
Yeah, what they're doing is they say we can't run right at you, but we're going to give you a bunch of misdirection. Since the Bulldog defense is so quick, they tend to jump at the first thing they see. So if you have somebody coming around on a fake reverse, they'll react towards that. So what they're doing at Grambling is saying, hey, we'll have them going in so many different directions, and then we'll pick and choose our spots when we hit you hard up the middle. 108
yards for Grambling in the game so far. Warren again, but he doesn't get any yardage that time as Mullen was right there, the middle linebacker Avery Mullen, a good one, who was the #2 tackler on this team behind Johnny Baldwin a year ago, who's now making his living with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Johnny Baldwin was a good one. I mean, this was a guy that never quit no matter how injured he was. He always got up, always made that play, and he's doing great things now in the National Football League. And talk about Bulldog defenders between Johnny Baldwin and Robert Mathis. They're starting to send some players to the NFL down there in Huntsville.
And no question. Of course, Robert Mathis, a member of the Super Bowl champ Indianapolis Colts. Here's a quick pass out in the flat. Here's Reggie Jackson, has some room, still on his feet, and finally brought out of bounds. Boy, they really slung him out of bounds that time. Maurice Thomas, he was a little upset with him, wasn't he?
He was a little bit upset, but wow, I mean, what a good job. This is one of those design kick plays here, and he gets an outstanding block from his teammate there. And once you get Reginald Jackson the ball in space like this, I mean, he's exciting to watch, and he just turns on the juice, and you see the extracurricular activity with the hard takedown by Maurice Thomas. Reginald Jackson, he can fly.
He certainly can. Maurice Thomas had to do something because he was one-on-one out there with him. You know, you don't want to get embarrassed. And they try to counterplay on the inside, which gains nothing, actually loses maybe 2 yards all the way back across the 15 to the 17 or 16-yard line. They have to get to the 4 for a first down. They can also score. The second down, we'll call it 12.
It's one of those times, if you're Alabama A&M and Coach Anthony Jones, do you stick to your guns? They're playing a lot of soft cushion and a lot of zone behind it. Do you try and slow down the Tigers here? Or do you bring the pressure to try and get them out of field goal range?
And Warren, again, the lone setback, play action to him. Here's a pass out in the flat. Still running with it is Tim Abney, and he's bounced out of bounds. A little bit shy of the first down.
They're going to have to make some adjustments. You cannot continue to play 8-9 yards off the football, and you got a team that's throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage every time to hurt you. I think we've seen Brandon Landers attempt maybe 3 passes thus far in the game across the line of scrimmage. You've got to get those defensive backs up in the chest unless you're really worried about the one-on-one coverage on the outside. But whatever they're doing right now doesn't seem to be working, Charlie.
You know, you talk to Coach Broadway, you say, what is your weakness from this team? He said, we lost the whole offensive line from a year ago, but it doesn't seem that way, the way they're running the ball. As a takedown by Jimmy Richardson that time, the senior out of Orville, Alabama, number 51.
You see Jimmy Richardson, who's just a linebacker there, and he's just going to shoot this gap up the middle. Goes unblocked, makes the tackle for loss behind the line of scrimmage.
So it brings up a 4th down, 4th and 8. And the field goal unit of the Grambling Tigers comes on, and that is Tim Manuel. This will be a 29-yard field goal attempt. It's up long enough, and it is good. So Manuel, who is perfect in field goals this year, he is 3 for 3. The senior out of New Iberia, Louisiana, gives his team a 7-point cushion. And we'll be back. Back here at Robinson Stadium in Grambling, Louisiana, 10-3, the Tigers over Alabama A&M and the Bulldogs. And you know, you talk about the fact that what Grambling has done so far this year. They beat Alcorn in their season opener, then they played Pitt, lost that one 34-10. But more importantly, they didn't have a game after the Pitt game. They were off a week. That could be good or bad. It gave them a chance to heal from losing to Pitt, but then you lose some of your continuity.
And that contest against Pitt was very physical. So, you know, they put out some Pitt players, and Pitt put out some of their players. So they needed that bye week, although every coach will tell you they wish the bye week came later during the season, but you can't dictate when that's going to happen. And that's why this game is so important. You know, they came out of the Pitt game learning a couple things about their team after getting their first SWAC victory. But now when you're taking on the team that's supposed to repeat as champions, now Coach Broadway will learn what type of Grambling Grambling team he truly has.
Ulysses Banks, a yard deep into the end zone, will bring it out for Alabama A&M across the 20 and onto the 27-yard line. Kind of interesting that he brought it out that far. I thought he might down it there. Don't forget to join host Lowell Galindo and analyst Mike Gottfried and Tom Luganbill for Inside the Polls, where you get the most in-depth look at college football polls plus a weekly Heisman watch. You get all that and more. It's on ESPNU, Inside the Polls, presented by 76. It comes your way Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. First down and 10 for Alabama A&M at their own 26-yard line. Third possession for them today. Keeping it on the ground, Anthony Green on the carry this time. First carry for him in the ball game, maybe 2 yards, and that's it. The black and gold are playing relentless defense.
Swarming to the football. You talk about that defensive line for Grambling. You know, you've got big guys in the middle. You talk about Melvin Matthews and Jason Banks. They weigh 300 pounds apiece, and they're going to be tough to run the football on. And if you can get to the edges, you've got some lightweights on the edges for Grambling. You look at Christian Anthony, the defensive end, number 90. He weighs about 220 pounds, so you like to see the Bulldog offense attack him on the weak side when you talk about running the football today.
Again, Anthony Green in the backfield. Anthony Green has the ball once again, and he is stacked up after a gain of maybe 2 more.
Green ball carrier.
Where it's going to bring up, we'll call it a 3rd down and 5.
And just by the past 2 play selections being called by Alabama A&M, they're frustrated right now because the game plan for Alabama A&M was to keep that wide open offense and keep throwing the football downfield. But now it seems like they're trying to establish the running game, and you just don't try to establish a running game for just because. You do it when you can't throw the football effectively.
They put Ulysses Banks in a slot to the right. Anthony Green's in a slot to the left. And here's Luke going to the air under pressure. He's not going to get it away. He is sacked. Only the 8th time this year that he has been sacked, and that is only the 2nd sack of the year by the Tigers of Grambling.
Yeah, they're just getting pressure there, and you see Kelsey look. Take Kelsey look at receiver number 1, receiver number 2 on the left side. Then he's looking downfield and looking, and all of a sudden that clock goes off in your head where you better find a piece of dirt that you can lay down on before you get your head knocked off. And the Grambling Tigers with the sack on Alabama A&M.
So for the 2nd time today, Kyler is back to punt it away. Reginald Jackson back to receive the punt from the left-footed kicker. And this one goes out of bounds right at about the 40-yard line, and that's where Grambling will take over. They have scored on all but 1 possession. This will be their 4th possession. The reason they didn't score then is they fumbled after completing a pass.
I think that's the key. Although every time they've had the ball, they've moved the football effectively down the field. You know, if you're Alabama A&M right now, this is gut check time. You know, you've got to help hold off the Tigers so your offense, until your offense gets on track. So Coach Jones has got his work cut out for him here early in Ruston, Louisiana.
Coach of the Year last year in the SWAC, Coach of the Year 2 times in the SIAC. The 2001 finalist for the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award in what was then called 1AA. And this time Warren still on his feet. Warren gets about 4 or 5 yards. We're talking about finalists for that Eddie Robinson award. They named the Eddie Robinson award after the coach, the former legendary coach here at Grambling State University. And we talked about 1AA, which is now called the Football Championship Subdivision. And it's an honor.
I think so. You know,
for anybody to get that award.
And Anthony Jones is a lot like Eddie Robinson. We talk about a builder of character in men. We talk about coaches around the country. There's no greater character in a coach than you'll find in Anthony Jones at Alabama A&M.
Quick pass out with a near flat. And it's Reginald Jackson, and Reginald Jackson close to the 1st down marker, maybe about a yard shy. That was a 2nd down play. It'll bring up a 3rd down. We'll call it 1.
And this is getting easy. I mean, Randall Landers is sitting back there. He'll go 90% throwing the ball, you know, 2 or 3 yards down the field. They still haven't found an answer for it. You've got to get up and jam that first wide receiver. And what they're doing is when they're coming out of the break, they're lining up 2 receivers, one behind the other. And the first guy's just blocking.
Yeah.
And the second guy's so far back, by the time he reacts to what's going on, it's too late. They're getting positive yardage every time they snap the football. And
that's going to bring the first quarter to an end. We have 15 minutes of football already under our belt. Rod Broadway has to be pleased by the production of his team so far. They lead it here in Grambling, Louisiana. Their home opener, 10-3 over the defending champs, Alabama A&M. We'll be back. Second quarter action from Louisiana in just a moment.
The tight.
Third down and 1 as we start the second quarter here at Grambling, Louisiana. Cornelius Walker is the second back in the I formation behind the fullback Corey Patterson, a redshirt freshman. 10-7 is our score. Make that 10-3 as our score in favor of the Grambling Tigers. And here's a quick pitch. And they're going to lose yards in the backfield. Good defense by Carlton Rice, the strong side linebacker, number 32, a transfer from Mississippi State. Had to feel good about his team last week. Sylvester Kroom, he came up with a big upset over Auburn.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you tried to. They had success earlier with the misdirection, and they couldn't stop them there. And that time, instead of just plowing straight ahead, trying to gut out the yards, they tried to do a little trickery there, and it backfired because Alabama A&M had 9 men around the line of scrimmage.
So they'll punt it for the first time today from their own 46-yard line. Now we have a flag. Now, if we got an illegal substitution on the defense, that'll give there's procedure on the offense.
Delay game. You know, one of the things here, the complexity of this game has changed because now there's a quick thunderstorm coming here, so the field's going to get wet, ball's going to get slick. So you see the umbrella starting to come up. So now you talk about Kelsey Luke and Alabama A&M team, which was their strength, was throwing the football. Well, now they're going to see early if they can throw in wet conditions.
High snap, pull down. Here's the kick. It's going to be fielded right at about the 21-yard line, but nowhere to run for the return man for Alabama A&M, and that is Frank Moore. And you're talking about some of the greats that have played at these fine institutions. There's one, John Stallworth, who played at Alabama A&M. Receiver, all SWAC from 72 to 73. NFL drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 74 in the 3rd round, 82nd overall, 537 career receptions at Pittsburgh. 4 Super Bowls, 6 Pro Bowls, class of 2002. Pro Football Hall of Fame. John Stallworth, a good one.
Yeah, he can really get it done. And I'm growing up in Los Angeles. I was an LA Ram fan, and I'll never forget the catches he made against the Rams in that Super Bowl appearance there. And what a quality man John Stallworth is, more importantly.
No question about it. On the run for Alabama A&M, Ulysses Banks, number 17 there.
Well, when you've got a running back like Ulysses Banks, they've got different formations at Alabama A&M in which they try to get the speed on the field. So whenever you see Ulysses Banks in the backfield along with number 41, Anthony Green, that's the NASCAR formation. They call it, they say we got different gears. We can go from 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds.
Here's Ulysses Banks trying to turn the corner, and he was bottled up that time. Good play by the linebacker on the far side. That was Zaire Wilborn to turn it inside and not allow him to stretch the field.
Yeah, and that's something where Banks has to get out of the return specialist mentality. When you're going for it, stop right there, go vertical, go straight into the line of scrimmage when it's 2nd and 2 yards. If it's not there to bounce outside right away, you've got to cut it up in there. You can't afford to lose yardage in a short yardage situation.
3rd down and 3 for Alabama A&M. The lone setback is Banks. Back to pass is Luke. Luke has it complete, and a first down by John Smith, the tight end, the senior from Alpine, Alabama, number 80. He's a big one, 6'6", 262, a specimen of a tight end, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's a physical specimen there, and this is a very dangerous pass to throw that out route late. The Grambling defensive back almost jumped underneath that route, but once you get the ball to the big tight end in space, it's a good pickup for a first down.
So they move the chains forward. And now it's a 1st down and 10 now for the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M. Ulysses Banks again, the lone setback. And here's Banks trying to get inside and get into the hole, but Zaire Wilborn, number 26, right there to make the stop for the Grambling Tigers as he moves the ball out to the 40-yard line. It was a 5-yard gain. You look at Zaire Wilborn, 95 career solo tackles coming into today's ball game. A senior out of Worthing High in Houston. In fact, all of their linebackers that start for Grambling State came from the same high school, Worthing High in Houston.
And I bet you had trouble running against the football against that high school team.
No question.
You could probably throw for 500 yards, but you weren't going to rush for 250.
Especially with Keith Hall and John Carter, the other linebackers, also from Worthing High. Luke back to pass on. And this one's batted in the air by one of the big linemen up front. I believe that was Jason Banks. Number 95, the senior out of McKinley High in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Had 6 tackles against Alabama A&M a year ago when these two teams met. And that was an overtime game that neither team was going to give to the other one. I think Alabama A&M won it on the last-second field goal, or won it in overtime.
And that was good penetration by the big fella, Jason Banks, of rushing, then realizing he wouldn't get to the quarterback and jumping in the air to get a hand on that football. 3rd down and 5 now. Luke trying to get some room as he goes to the left. Throws it, but throws it away. Had a receiver out there, Gerald Stockdale, but he just couldn't get his body turned to hit him. As he escaped to run for the pressure. I mean, look at all these Grambling State Tigers just attacking the pocket, and Kelsey's got some good mobility out there. At this point, he's just getting rid of the football. And you see Stockdale, number 13, standing there. If he could have just gotten some zip on the ball and gotten his body around, he might have had something going. So they'll punt it away once again for the 3rd time today. Alabama A&M. Tyler. Okay. Here's going to be a return, but not for much. And there's a timeout on the field. 10-3 is our score. 11-17 remaining, first half. And 17 remaining in the first half. In case you just joined us, Landers a 17-yard pass to Edwards. Made it 7-0. Lycia a 37-yard field goal. Made it 7-3. And they made it 10-3. That is Grambling on a field goal by Tim Manuel. As Grambling keeps it on the ground, goes forward, picks up about 3 yards on the reception by Reginald Jackson. You know, just one-on-one, getting them. Reginald Jackson, he's been busy today. Busy, you know, with a name like Reggie Jackson, you know I'm waiting for him to hit a home run. So if he keeps on doing that, it'll get to it sooner or later. And take a look at the numbers there. Wow, Grambling State, 142 yards. Alabama A&M that came in here with a more publicized offense. Haven't got over 50 yards yet. And again, there's a penalty marker down on the play. You're talking about this Grambling team. They will be in Dallas next week. The State Fair, Cotton Bowl, the State Fair Classic. They take on Prairie View. See what this marker is all about. This is against Alabama A&M. Personal foul. And let's look at the numbers on Brandon Landers and see what he's done so far. Boy, he's hit everybody, hasn't he? Yeah, I mean, that's a pass right there behind the line of scrimmage, getting the ball to Reggie Jackson. Another quick pass, this time going to his tight end on a tight end bubble screen to Tim Abney. And then the time he did go vertical, he had pay dirt with a touchdown to all SWAC performer Clyde Edwards. 11 of 12, 83 yards. And not bad. Only 2 passes is beyond the line of scrimmage. That's passing efficiency. So the penalty of the personal foul moves the ball out to the 45 and gives Grambling a first down, and they again keep it on the ground. And you've noticed Broski Towns has made some adjustments with his defense. They're not moving the defense back like they were earlier in the contest. Yeah, I mean, that's a typical Broski Towns type of defense. You know, you think you can run the ball in the middle, and you keep trying and you keep trying and you wonder why. And you have to keep trying, but there's nothing there. So if I'm Grambling State, I keep doing what I'm doing. If they're going to give me a pass behind the line of scrimmage and nobody within 4 or 5 yards of my wide receiver, I'm going to throw bubble screens all day until they find an answer for it. And I'm going to run the football on the edges instead of up the gut. Cornelius Walker in the backfield with the quarterback Landers. Now Alabama A&M starting to creep up there, so now they're vulnerable for the big play downfield.
Here's a throw off balance, and this is going to be incomplete. Clyde Edwards, the closest black jersey to the ball, as Maurice Thomas was back there. Look at the pressure up front.
Oh, yeah, you'll see Dorian Wallen come in there with the pressure there, and they get a helmet down as everybody's coming. They brought the whole kitchen sink there, and that's what you want to do. If you're going to bring pressure, just make sure sooner or later you get a body on the quarterback, and that's how you bring a blitz. You bring it from the outside, and you also bring it up the middle and make sure somebody hits the quarterback.
That's Jeremy Maddox. You see there, number 54, sophomore out of Grand Bay, Alabama. Going to the air. Landers has it complete. First down. Right in the middle of the field. Got that soft zone. And again, this time is Quavarius Hills. Quavarius Hills, the senior out of Clinton, Louisiana.
Take a look at the middle of the field wide open. The moment those safeties separate like that, you want to attack the middle in the soft zone. Linebackers become important in the drop zone protection. They can't get there wide open like pitching and catching. Can't draw it up any easier than you can there.
This time Chris Bird goes out to the top of the screen. Quick pass inside. Again, it's Hills on the reception. Hills on his feet.
He almost got there. That was a great effort by Frank Moore, the cornerback. Had he not continued his pursuit angle, that was an easy 6. And you keep throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. This time they snuck an extra wide receiver out there. So instead of having one wide receiver block, and they had 2 wide receivers plus an offensive lineman there for the big pickup. And you'll see there, it was a good job of Quavarius Hills just turning on the jets, getting vertical, running past his offensive lineman, telling him, get out of my way, son. I got an end zone to get into.
No question, and it's 1st and goal for the Grambling Tigers right at the 2-yard line. And Quavarius Hills' last 2 receptions from Brandon Landers, like you said, they kind of set up that pass play or the passing situation with that with the run, and they keep it and go straight ahead. And let's see, do they get in? They call touchdown, and it's Walker, his first touchdown of the season. The freshman, his first collegiate touchdown. He'll remember that one.
Yeah, and that's the first rushing touchdown for the Grambling State running back core this year. They haven't ran for a touchdown all season. So right now, Coach Broadway has his team clicking on all cylinders. And take a look here, a little aggressive running by Cornelius Walker, up and over the offensive lineman on the pancake block there by the right guard, Muhammad Kareem, doing a good job of getting the pancake.
All of the Grambling scorers this year offensively have come by way of the pass. That is the first time that they've scored, as Jay said, by way of the run. And it's the freshman from Mays High in Atlanta, Georgia. His first collegiate touchdown. And you'll remember this one, 17-3.
Jack Links.
Of his coaching, gosh, he's coached longer than anybody I ever know. He and Joe Paterno. And his winning record, the men that he has put in professional football. And there's no telling the countless and countless of young men that he's changed their life for the good. You know, they didn't make it in pro football. They didn't make All-Star. There's no telling how many young men have become great family men and great Americans just in their daily life because of Eddie Robinson.
No question about it. And who would know better than Bobby Bowden?
And I agree wholeheartedly, because every person that I played in the professional ranks with that went to Grambling, you ask them the biggest influence on their life, it's never their mom or their dad. It's always across the board Eddie Robinson. You're talking about guys that went on to become NFL Hall of Famers. They all bring it back to Eddie Robinson. And that's why he's a legend. He's irreplaceable, and we'll never see another one like him.
This is Anthony Green, and Anthony Green out to the 31-yard line. It's such a pleasure to say that I had an opportunity to do a number of Eddie Robinson's games when he was
here at Grambling, I'm sure.
No, yeah, well, yeah. Where else? I didn't know him anywhere else.
But I mean, you talk about somebody that had a pulse on the game and on social issues as well. I mean, you know, he let you know where you stood and your importance in history, and he knew he was making history, and he made sure that James Harris and Doug Williams and Buck Buchanan and all these folks knew how important it was for them to do well because they represented that G on their chest.
No question.
Stood for Grambling University.
Christian Anthony on the stop defensively of the run by Ulysses Banks. He picks up maybe a yard and a half, maybe 2. We'll call it 2nd down and 8. You'll see Ulysses Banks there, sophomore out of Parker High in Birmingham, Alabama. Came into the game ranked 20th in the nation of all players in the championship subdivision and all-purpose yards, averaging 179.3 yards per game. That's running and returns.
If you want to stop this A&M offense, which right now, defensive coordinator Cliff Yoshida is doing a great job doing, you got to frustrate them. Keep them guessing and never let them get comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good pass to the tight end Charles Moody, the senior out of Daleville, Georgia. And he moves the chains and picks up the 1st down for the Bulldogs. You talk to Coach Jones, and you talk about the difference between last year's championship team and this year's championship team. And the one thing he will tell you, he feels this team has more speed. In the past, they were a pound and ground game. 25 yards was considered a big play. Now they're breaking long passes, 60, 69, 70-yard plays. Yeah, they are, and that's the key. He said now we've got more excitement, and he really credited to a guy like Thomas Harris, who didn't play for him last year when he got hurt, but he's that vertical threat. But, the key now is I believe all that, and everything works fine and dandy. But, the one question we had to answer, how much do you believe in that when you're playing one of your teams that know you? Yeah. And Grambling's one of those rivals. They know you. So you can put up all the numbers you want to against non-conference competition like Tennessee State. You can do it against Clark Atlanta. But, do that. Let's see if you can do that when you go on the road and play against a team that knows you and just thinks they're better than you, period. Well, against Tennessee State, they won that one 49-23, scored 21 points in the 4th quarter. They beat Clark Atlanta 41-10. Luke threw 4 touchdown passes in that game. And against Mississippi Valley, they beat them 45-14. Luke 276 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. So he had 3 in the first game, 4 in the second. And here's a pass that's bobbled by the receiver, and he somehow managed to stay on his feet. That's Thomas Harris on the reception, number 81. And you can tell anytime they get a play with positive yardage, it's almost like a surprise. It's not the norm. And they're not executing well. We talked about the ball getting a little slippery. It rained here for a little while. That stopped. And you look at the Grambling defenders. They're just all over the football. And it's frustrating. You can tell this is a frustrated offense right now. Even when they get positive yardage, it's because Kelsey Luke stuck a football in there. Yeah. Well, at 45 points to they're average. Off pace. Yeah, a little bit. There's still a lot of football left. They still have two and a half quarters to go. They better catch up. They better get their foot on the gas pedal. 3rd down and 9. Look out. That could have been intercepted. Right there defensively was Dizer. Michael Dizer, senior out of Sterlington, Louisiana, who's the leading tackler on this Grambling team, and you hate to see your free safety be your leading tackler. Yeah, he actually just stood there and waited for the tight end to come in. He didn't drop it all. He knew the down and distance. It was 3rd and 11 yards to go, so he stayed there 10 yards away from the football and waited for the tight end to come to him. And Kelsey Luke did not recognize the open receiver soon enough, therefore allowing Michael Dizer to get the pass breakup. Rashawn Kyler to punt it away for the 4th time today. 6:15 to go, 2nd quarter. 17-3, Grambling out in front. Left-footed punter. High kick. He shanked this one. This goes out of bounds. He shanked it back. Yes, real bad. Kyler was averaging 36, almost 37 yards a punt, and it just crossed midfield. They're going to get the ball in great field position. And Alabama A&M, founded in 1867, located in Huntsville, Alabama, with 4,600 students. Dr. Joel, that's Alabama State, is Dr. Joel Lee. Dr. Robert Jennings is the president of Alabama A&M. That's why I hang with you, Charlie. You're not going to let that go by. You're exactly right. But A&M, that school's really grown. You talk about Huntsville, Alabama, you're talking about NASA. Out there, everybody associates NASA with Houston. Well, they also have a huge presence in Huntsville, Alabama as well. From their own 47-yard line, Grambling with the ball. Landers incomplete, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, and that was, let's see, who was that? They've got everybody there, and that's what you want there. Spivey. They snuck in a tight end running right up the seam, and
Good recognition by Brandon Landis to deliver a strike. You can't throw it and catch it, Brandon. Just keep throwing it. And trust me, they'll hold on to it.
Eventually, huh?
Eventually. And if not, you find somebody that can.
Second and 10. This time they run it straight ahead, gain about 7 yards. And again, this is Frank Warren on the carry. Of course, the Grambling State University, located in Grambling, Louisiana, founded in 1901. Over 5,000 students enrolled here, and Dr. Horace Judson is the president of the Grambling State University.
And they've got some great things going on campus here. We haven't been down here for the past 2.5 years and looked like they just sprinkled some water and grew some dormitories and some new buildings and a new basketball gymnasium.
Yeah, they'll open this year there. I saw their basketball men's coach earlier today, Larry Wright. Here's Warren on the carry, and he's going to be shy of a first down. Stopped at about the 45-yard line.
Questionable play call there. I mean, you've got a quarterback that's been very efficient throwing the football, you know, today, and when you get an opportunity in 3rd and 5, you decide to go with a draw play. So you got to question that one there. Why not? Brandon Landis hasn't come close to throwing an interception today. You know, every pass he's thrown has either been dropped or caught by his team. So got to wonder why they went with that quick draw.
So at the 45 of Alabama A&M, they'll punt it away.
Green deep to receive for the Bulldogs.
Trying to keep it out of the end zone. Does it go in? Yes. He should have. The second guy should have left it alone, huh?
Should have left it alone. It just appeared as if number 24, it just slowed down his body momentum and was going to settle down there. You see that hot potato going around there, and he's there on his knees, and he swats at it. Good job. They would have took it from him.
4:31 is the time remaining here. We're in the first half of play. As you look there at Ryan Allen, a reserve wide receiver, sophomore out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Don't forget, the ESPNU delivers more action from the gridiron. It's comes your way Thursday night. The Spartans of Norfolk State take on the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. That game will come from Greensboro, North Carolina. It's Thursday primetime college football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. It comes your way at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. First down and 10 at the 20. Here's Kelsey Luke, wide open on the far sideline, and he has it complete to his wide receiver over there, and that's Thomas Harris.
You know, if I'm Alabama A&M and I'm Coach Anthony Jones and offensive coordinator Cedric Pearl, I'm stepping on the gas pedal. We got a completion. We got an easy play. Let's keep the personnel they have in there and go no huddle just to do something. You got 4 minutes left. Why not do something to jumpstart your offense? Because this has been a horrendous first half. I think the coaching staff would agree for the offensive side of the ball. So I go no huddle and just throw, because Kelsey Luke should be the best football player on this team on the field.
Well, as Coach said, you know, as he goes, so does the team. If he plays well, the team plays well. Gang tackling by the Grambling Tigers, trying to take the ball away from the receiver, and the officials say forward progress. Goes out to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, just a little quick hitting pass out there to Gerard Stocksdale. And you see, his forward progress was stopped. They actually came close to getting it. Had his forward progress not have stopped, they would have gotten that ball out of there. But good call by the officials. But you know, get it going. You know, we're coming to see the 3-4 wide receiver sets all the time and throwing the ball. And after you get that first big completion, go back to what's working.
Second down and 8. Thomas Harris all the way out to the top. Kelsey Luke coming back with a screen to the near side of the tight end. A tight end screen, and he's across the 40. Has the first down. Looks like it's very close. Or is that John Smith? John Smith, the tight end.
You know, with that big body there, and, you know, the reason why this worked is because look at the hard sell by Kelsey Luke. You got to follow the football. His eyes are to the right, to the right, to the right. He slipped out there to the left, and John Smith, that big frame, he can move. 6'6", 260 pounds. I mean, he's got great build. He did a good job of getting upfield.
Looking at big 6'5", number 76, Darius Turner, laying some pretty good blocks downfield also for him.
You would think with all that muscle and all that size, they should run this ball power to the left side.
Yeah, they're going to the right side, trying to turn upfield, and Ulysses Banks trying to get to the first down marker. I think he got it, though. At least the way the officials are spotting the ball, he got a good spot, and they're going to move the chains forward.
It was favorable, but, you know, I'm one of those folks there every now and then. I just believe in the law of mass. You know, you got a 302-pound left guard. You got a left tackle that weighs 300 pounds. And you got a tight end that's 6'6", 260 pounds. And you decide to run the ball on the right side where you got a right tackle that weighs, 250 pounds.
Back here, we're in Grambling, Louisiana for college football presented by City. Alabama A&M in the white jerseys taking on Grambling State along with Jay Walker. I'm Charlie Neal, and it is a 1st down and 10 for Alabama A&M, and the Bulldogs trailing in this ball game. Play action now. Luke looking down the field.
Oh,
man out there. Thomas Harris was open on the deep post pattern, beating Nigel Copeland downfield.
You had the matchup that you want. They went with max protection with the hard play action fake, one-on-one route with all the field to go. You see the hard fake here. Everybody's staying in there to block. They got a body on a body. One-on-one, he just led him too far upfield instead of pulling him across the formation. Oh, you don't get many opportunities like that in a football game. Maybe 1 or 2 per contest. Kelsey Luke missed the pass there for the opportunity to make a big play.
And there you see the numbers on him today. 7 of 15, just 47 yards. And Nigel Copeland didn't have any help back there, did he?
Not at all. I mean, that's why you rarely get that. One-on-one coverage, no help in the middle. You've got the perfect play call. They're bringing the blitz. And you've got 9 people in to protect an 8-man blitz. And they just missed that opportunity. But it's been one of those first halves for Kelsey Luke. You saw his numbers there on the previous play where he was throwing somewhere around 45%. Coming into this game, he was a 61% passer. And that's just telling me he's not necessarily comfortable. He's not seeing things well. And this Grambling State Tiger defense has been able to rattle him a little bit and get him out of his comfort zone.
You saw Kelvin Atkins, number 1 on the sideline, signaling in the play from the bench, a freshman out of South Durham High in Durham, North Carolina. 3rd down. And now a timeout by Alabama A&M being called. You can log on to your online source for all things college sports. It's ESPNU.com. The online service is a gateway to all college sports content from ESPN, which combines the latest news with an expanded collection of exclusive material, scores, columns, video, and audio highlights, podcasts, live streaming games, and much, much more. Don't forget to log on to ESPNU.com today. And if you do not have ESPNU, be sure to log on to ESPNU.com and type in your zip code at the top of the page, or call your local cable operator or satellite provider. Along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal here in Grambling, Louisiana. You look at the halftime. Of course, people will always want to see the bands. The Grambling State University, a band that's renowned. They've been all over the world.
World famed.
Yeah, world famed.
That's their name. Just keep it short and simple. The world famed Grambling State University band. We saw them yesterday during the walkthrough. They were practicing just as hard as the ball squad, weren't
they? They do. 3rd down and 7 now for Alabama A&M. Luke.
Got him.
Wide open in the middle of Smith, the tight end, and he has the 1st down inside the 30. And that is John Smith, the senior tight end, 6'6". You can't miss him.
I mean, not when he's doing moves like that. He ran a shake route up the middle of the field, which was textbook. What do you want him to do? You want him to come vertical, give a look to the outside, then cut back up the middle seam. Perfect shake route executed by John Smith.
1st down and 10, showing blitz. And it's caught by Harris on the near sideline, and Harris moves it about 8 yards down to the 20 of Grambling. So with 33 seconds to go, Alabama A&M trying to get something done before halftime.
See, they need to get going, though. I mean, right now,
yeah, they wasted a lot of time.
You didn't get the 1st down, so, pretty soon the clock's not going to become your friend, and they've already burned a couple timeouts this half.
Well, they've only used 1. They have 2 remaining. This one is to Moody, the other tight end, and Moody's still going to be shy of a 1st down, so they're going to have to use their 2nd timeout. They have 1 remaining.
I mean, see, and that's the thing we're talking about. Sooner or later, time's not going to be your friend. So by you having to use that last timeout, you got to keep 1 in your back pocket in case you get tackled on the 2 or 3 yard line and want to go for a field goal attempt. So
don't forget, coming up at halftime on SportsCenter U with Lowell Galindo, And Tom Luganville will have the battles that's going on in the Southeast Conference. We'll remember Eddie Robinson. Notre Dame, is that right?
Wah, wah.
They went they played Michigan State today?
Michigan State.
Boy, they had two Michigan schools back-to-back, huh?
and your old stomping ground, Detroit area, has not been kind
No, it hasn't.
to the Fighting Irish. They don't have any Notre Dame fans there in Detroit, Charlie, or in the state of Michigan?
I'm sure they do. Yeah, the Regis Philbin's pep talk to the Fighting Irish didn't do much good, did it?
Yeah, you know what they need to do is they probably need to see if Rocket Ismail has any more eligibility left. You know, he can change things in a hurry.
That would be great. That would be great. Next week, of course, Alabama A&M will have homecoming in Huntsville, Alabama, as they host Texas Southern University. And then the following week, they travel to Southern University.
Wow, that's early. See, you know, for me, I'm a homecoming guy in October.
Yeah, it is.
September homecomings, I can't get used to that. You're just starting to know your home folks.
Mm-hmm. This drive started at their own 20-yard line for Alabama A&M, though. Only 17 seconds left in the half. They're trailing, trying to get something going. Luke, little swing pass. He throws it away as Ulysses Banks was not wide open. So now it's a 4th down, 1 situation, but more importantly, only 11 seconds remaining. So whatever you do, you either have to go to the end zone or maybe he's going to bring in his kicking team. Just get it done. I think that's what Coach Anthony Jones decides he's going to do with Jeremy Lycia. Lycia has already hit a field goal today from 37 yards out. This one will be a 36-yard field goal attempt. Lycia is perfect so far this year. This one is up, has the distance, and it looks like it's good. So before halftime, with 6 seconds remaining here in the second quarter, it's a 17-6 field goal. Lycia has hit 2 field goals, one from 37 and one from 36 yards out. Last year, Lycia in the field goal department was 4 of 7. And of course, the Eddie Robinson Museum is something that they're trying to get going here. And they're going to place it on campus over in the women's gymnasium. And we talked to some of the people involved in making it happen. And they're hoping to get it going in the next 8, what he said, I think he said 8 months or something like that. Maybe they should have it going. Yeah,
I mean, they should.
And if you want to make a donation, you know, all you have to do is dial 1-866-WINS-408. That's WINS 408, or U.S. Mail, Friends of Eddie G. Robinson Museum, Post Office Box 550, Grambling, Louisiana 71245. Or you can go to the website, www.robinsonmuseum.com.
And I think that anybody that's ever laced up a pair of cleats, put on some shoulder pads, or even gone to a game as a spectator and like watching good football, needs to go online and register to get that thing done. That will be remarkable.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Ellis earlier today, who's heading up that museum operation. So it's a short kick. Of course, Alabama A&M not taking any chances on a run back, and Grambling will get the ball just shy of the 40-yard line at about the 39 with 3 seconds to go. So they either try to put it up. Not a bad first half for Brandon Landers. 13 of 16, 135 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. I don't think they're going to do anything but just kneel down. They've got a spy way back. He's 15 yards behind just in case something bad happens. They're just going to take the snap and let the half run out. So Landers with the kneel down. The first half comes to an end here. The 25th year of football here at Robinson Stadium. A good first half for Brandon Landers. Coach Rod Broadway, his first home game as his first-year head coach here in Grambling, Louisiana. Not a bad way to start it out. 17-6 our score. A pair of touchdowns by Grambling and a field goal. A pair of field goals by Alabama A&M. And that's the way we are here at the half. At halftime here, 17-6, Grambling over the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M in the first home game since the death of legendary coach Eddie Robinson, who passed away back in April of this year. Before the game, Dr. Horace Judson, the president of Grambling State University, standing on the far side of Doris Robinson, the widow and the wife of Eddie Robinson Jr., receiving a bouquet. And there's Eddie Robinson Jr., the son of the legendary coach, who we got a chance to talk to before the game about the making of the Eddie Robinson Museum, which is coming up here on campus.
The way we kind of see it is just the thought of anybody considering doing a building structure or something of that nature in honor of a family member is just almost unbelievable. He was a guy that was always accessible to almost anybody. You know, just students, you know, or just anybody.
To find out more about the Eddie Robinson Museum, go to www.eddierobinsonmuseum.com. We're at halftime here in Grambling, Louisiana, where the Tigers and their home opener enjoying the 17-6 lead over Alabama A&M. Watching ESPNU College Football presented by Citi, and we're here at halftime at Robinson Stadium in Grambling, Louisiana, where the score is 17-6. The Tigers over the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M. Charlie Neal along with Jay Walker here at halftime. You see us with the Grambling T-shirts on. I'll just let you see it a little bit in honor of the legendary coach Eddie Robinson. Jay's got his on backward only because his wife wasn't here to dress him. But no, actually the reason is they want to show all the accomplishments. If you look at the front side of the shirt, has a picture of Eddie Robinson, and it talks about his years on this earth. On the back side, it talks about all of his accomplishments between 1919 and 2007. And of course, that's right, it's a very good shirt. If you would like to get one of these, of course, it helps with the museum that they're building in honor of Eddie Robinson right here on the Grambling State campus. You can go to the website www.robinsonmuseum.com. But right now we're here at halftime here, 17-6, and it's Grambling State, and it's been all Grambling. In fact, they took the opening kickoff and drove all the way down the field. Brandon Landers finally completing a 17-yard touchdown pass to Edwards to give his team a 7-0 lead.
This has been a complete performance by the Grambling State Tiger team. On offense, they came out and moved the ball at will. In defense, they shut down the vaunted Alabama A&M Bulldog offense. If you're Coach Rob Broadway, you've got to be pleased with your team's overall effort in the first half. Can you continue to keep the pressure on and close the door in the second half? Because one thing we know about Alabama A&M Bulldog team coached by Coach Anthony Jones, they're going to come back and they're going to keep fighting.
And you talk about after that touchdown, they traded field goals, and then, of course, Grambling State came back, scored another touchdown on the ground to go ahead, and finally, just before half, as we look at some of the first half highlights, here we see this set up the last field goal by Alabama A&M just before half.
And that was one of the few bright spots for the Alabama A&M offense. After that, it's been like this all day, just getting gang tackled and frustrated. Brandon Landers came out. He wasn't a gunslinger passing vertically. Most of his passes were completed behind the line of scrimmage. But when you've got playmakers making plays that close, like Reginald Jackson did and Clyde Edwards in the first half, you can see why the coaching staff is telling Brandon, just play within our system. We've got a great system. We've got great playmakers surrounding you. And he did a good job of spreading the wealth in the first half.
And you look at the stats in the first half, and you see where the superiority went in favor of the Grambling Tigers in terms of total yards, 194 to 101 for Alabama A&M. Of course, Grambling with 10 first downs, and Grambling turned the ball over one time, which led to the first field goal and the first score of the game by Alabama A&M.
And to A&M's credit, they got it going late in the first half. They did start to move the ball in the first half, so can they come out and make some second half adjustments? And I think they will. I mean, that's the mark of a great coach to me, is what do you do when you come out of halftime, you see what the other team's doing, how do you adjust? And we expect both these coaches to continue the game of chess. And it's going to be an interesting second half.
What do you think Anthony Jones said at halftime?
Can't play any worse. I mean, you tell your team, and on defense, we let them drive down with the opening position and move down the field. Offensively, we did not help out the defense. So if we come out and play Bulldog football in the second half, we can catch these guys because we're only down by 11. So we're well within striking distance.
From the 4-yard line, Ulysses Banks, as Alabama A&M gets the second half kickoff, and they'll get it out to the 25-yard line, and that's where they'll go to work, trailing in this ball game 17-6. They'll start at their own 25-yard line, and they're in a very unfamiliar position right now. As you look at Kelsey Luke, 10 of 19 in the first half, 80 yards. This is the leading passer in the SWAC coming in. Came in with 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
And average,
pretty good. Yeah.
And averaging 300 yards in passing
right.
per game. So they really distracted him and rattled him. But that's the key when you have a guy like Kelsey Luke, a 5th-year senior. You know he's going to rebound in the second half.
I formation. And we have movement up front. Let's see if he was drawn off. Coming in for the Grambling Tigers on the defensive side. Our referee will let us know. That was Jason Banks.
False start.
Yep.
Number 68 on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
That's the center, Xavier Manuel, sophomore out of Vinegar Bend, Alabama. Charged with moving too soon. Was in a reserve role a year ago. From Fruitdale High. That's about 48 miles north of Mobile. Luke back to pass under pressure, will not get away this time. And it's Scroggins who came in on the defense to make the stop. John Scroggins, number 92, senior out of Dallas, Texas, one of those transfers from the University of Minnesota, Big Ten man.
Yeah, and that was one of those times where you had the left tackle there for Alabama A&M and Darius Turner trying to block 2 people with both his arms, and John Scroggins wasn't going to let that happen. He kept his motor going and got to the quarterback for the sack.
6'5", 260. Returning starter and a major in early childhood education. And he gave Kelsey a little education that time, didn't he?
You know, with a major like that, you know, my thing is that's too big a man to be playing with little kids.
Timeout. And Alabama A&M decides to call a timeout here early in the second half. So they'll only have 2 remaining, and ESPNU delivers more action from the gridiron as we travel down to Norfolk State. I should say A&T to North Carolina A&T. Greensboro, where the Norfolk State Spartans take on the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. It'll be Thursday primetime college football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, and it comes your way on ESPNU at 7:30 p.m. Eastern next Thursday. For more information, just log on to ESPNU.com.
And you take a look at that matchup, you got 2 different coaches. At Norfolk State, you got a coach just got a brand new contract extension. And you talk about North Carolina A&T, coach could be on the hot seat. You know, you go winless last year and your team is off to a horrendous start this year. 2 coaches right now appear to be going in opposite directions. It'll be interesting to see next week if A&T can put up some fight at home and defend their turf.
It is 2nd down and long, 2nd and about 18 for Alabama A&M. Luke back to pass. Throws it over the middle, out of the backfield is Ulysses Banks, and Ulysses Banks has it up to the 30-yard line. So he gains a good portion of it back, about 13 yards to be exact. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
This was a long developing play here. You see Luke in the shotgun, then he takes another 5-step drop, which is the equivalent of a 7-step drop, but hit it to the wide receiver, the crossing route in stride, allowing him to pick up those extra yards that they needed to get them close to make it a makeable 3rd and 5.
It is 3rd and 5 for Kelsey Luke. 39% in 3rd down conversions coming into the ball game, and here's a pass over the middle again. They are really picking up that tight end, and they're doing a good job this time. Charles Moody is on the receiving end. Preseason first team all SWAC.
This is great recognition by Kelsey. Look, he's going to see his tight end uncover with the linebacker going too far inside in order to get to him. So what do? Just get the snap, give it to the linebacker, takes 1 step beyond the line of scrimmage. First down, Alabama A&M, because of the recognition on the pre-snap read by Kelsey Luke.
On a 3rd and 5, they pick up 8. The ball is moved out to the 43-yard line. Where to be first down and 10. In motion is Stockdale. Going from left to right on the bottom of your screen to the top. This time, Ulysses Banks gets into the secondary. Finally brought down from behind by John Carter, the linebacker from Houston's Worthing High, number 47.
And that's one of those things, because of the previous play, if you can make that linebacker have to acknowledge where the tight end is, that opens up a bigger crease or bigger running room for the wide receiver, for the running back to get behind. And Ulysses Banks did a good job of gaining positive yardage there on first down.
7 to be exact. It'll bring up second down and 3. We want to see what kind of adjustments this Alabama A&M squad made at halftime. This is the first possession for either team in the second half. They started at their own 25. Luke under a little pressure now, rolling out to his right, waving his receivers downfield. He's just going to throw this one away because there was nobody open. Good defense by Grambling State and a little pressure up front.
And that's the third time that Kelsey Luke's been flushed out the pocket there. You know, lazy route running there by the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. They're kind of just looking around jogging. You've got a quarterback that's scrambling for his life. Get open.
Yeah, you got to do something.
Come back to the quarterback and get open.
I mean, there's only third down and 3. It's not like they have to throw a 60-yard pass.
Yep. Yeah, I think, you know, what the key has been is, you know, that's kind of aggressive play calling, considering you haven't been able to move the ball downfield on steady drive. So you could say, do you have a second down the waist when you're going against a defense that's done a pretty good job of stuffing you running the ball all evening?
Thomas Harris is at the bottom of the screen. Stockdale in motion. Here's Harris.
Oh, wow.
Too much for him. He was wide open. Enough for the first down, and Luke just pulled the trigger too hard.
I mean, wide open. I actually thought that Thomas Harris was going to run a 5-yard hitch route, get the first down. He ran the slant pattern and was equally as open. And had Luke been able to put that ball on the stomach of Thomas Harris, he had plenty of room for the first down and then some. Take a look here. 1, 2, 3, get the grip of the football. Wow. That's a gimme. You got to have that one. That's football 101. Quick slant, 3-step drop, wide open, off coverage, outside in.
Right inside of the corner, Kenneth Anio. And he didn't have a chance to stop that one as they will punt it away. And they'll be punting to a very dangerous Reginald Jackson, a senior. This one's going to bounce out of bounds at the 2-yard line. At the 2-yard line. Boy, you're talking about some great quarterbacks, and you're talking about Brandon Landers and some of the people that played here. How about this young man who coached here at Grambling State University, succeeded Eddie Robinson as the coach of Grambling State, and had a pretty successful coaching career.
Everybody's hero, Doug Williams, only African-American quarterback to win the Super Bowl and became a phenomenal coach. I mean, I wonder if he knew he was going to have that type of success as a coach that he had, and did a great job of restoring the roar back here in Tigerland.
Yeah, 1998 to 03 with a record of 52-18, won 3 black college national titles. He was a 3-time SWAC Coach of the Year in a brief career. And he was succeeded by Melvin Spears, who was here for a number of years. And so it's only been 3 coaches since Eddie Robinson left. Doug Williams, Melvin Spears, and now Rod Broadway.
Talk about some shoes to fill.
Oh, no question.
Because even Melvin Spears won a black college national championship as well. So everybody's doing it. But if you've got a quarterback pulling the trigger on efficiency like this, 13 to 16, 135, Coach Broadway is thinking, hey, we can go undefeated. But I still say no matter how good you do in the regular season down here at Grambling, it all comes down to what, Charlie?
Got to beat the champ.
The Bayou Classic,
no,
baby.
Well, yeah, that's true, too.
You can go 10-0 and lose that last game, and they're upset with you.
No question. I remember a young man by the name of Cass Jackson that used to coach at Southern University years ago, back in the 80s, and, you know, he wasn't winning at all. And in fact, when they went to the Bayou Classic, they had his bags packed in the bus ticket.
He was fired before the game started.
That's right. And he won the Bayou Classic. They gave him another contract for another year.
That's how important that game is here to the state of Louisiana. You know, the ironic stat to me is, you know, it's a real rivalry when you got a quarterback like Bruce Eugene, black college player of the year quarterback, you know, set all these records down here. His career record in the Bayou Classic, 2-2.
Yeah, that's a big game. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, because that's a rivalry to beat all rivalries. This one incomplete. Chris Bird, the intended receiver. That was a 3rd and 4 play for the Grambling Tigers, so they'll punt it away. So neither team able to mount anything here on their first drive as Grambling goes 3 and out in the second half, and they'll be punting it away from their own 9.
Adjustments were made. You saw Alabama A&M have a little bit of success running the football. On defense, you saw Alabama A&M get closer to the line of scrimmage, forcing Grambling to throw the ball vertically instead of horizontally.
Now, Quentin Carlock is the man to receive this punt. Should be a short field for Alabama A&M. Carlock receives it at the 43 across midfield, still on his feet, and going down inside the 40 to about the 38-yard line. So great field position for Alabama A&M after a great punt that set them up and drove Grambling deep, 17-6. And we'll be back to Grambling in a moment.
Alabama
17-6 here in the third quarter with 10:05 remaining, and we're in the third quarter here. Join host Lowell Galindo and analyst Mike Godfrey to Tom Luganbill for Inside the Polls, where you get the most in-depth look at the college football polls, plus a weekly Heisman watch. All that and more on ESPNU Inside the Polls, presented by 76. Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Second best field position for Alabama A&M to start a drive today. The first one came on their second possession after they recovered a fumble, and Ulysses Banks is tripped up in the backfield and doesn't get anywhere as John Scroggins was penetrating, and they lose maybe a yard.
You know, still trying to win that battle at the line of scrimmage, and nobody's really established that in this game. And I'm from the old school. Hey, if it's not working, don't try and force something on them. It's not there. Throw the football. I'd like to see Kelsey Luke start doing some bootleg and some rollout action. We haven't seen them call any naked bootlegs or any type of misdirection to get him outside of the pocket.
It is second down. We'll call it 11. Tight end Moody, the man in motion. Luke dancing to the outside, throws, and it's incomplete. And he was intending it for John Smith. We have a penalty flag down, maybe holding against Alabama A&M. I tell you, the penalty flags have not been that great tonight, which is good.
Yeah, they've let the kids play a little bit. And on that one there, I think they got a hold on the running back.
Number 17 on the offense, 10 yards from the previous spot.
And that's really going to hurt because he was actually behind the line of scrimmage 3 or 4 yards. So now you're looking at
second and 21.
With the penalty, now second down.
One thing we haven't seen him do, if you take a look at the penalties tonight, as we talked about earlier, not a lot of flags called. They've been letting them play here. But have yet to see Alabama A&M really take some deep shots. You know, give me 3 verticals going down the field, get a one-on-one matchup with your best wide receiver, and go for it deep.
Kelsey Luke looking downfield, throws, and this one is incomplete.
You know, it's tough to watch right now. The problem with Kelsey, and, you know, when you look at percentages and completions, all that stuff, you know, you can live with whatever happens sometimes, but the problem is it doesn't look like he's seeing things well right now. You know, I remember I had a coach, Ray Perkins, you know, he talked to Drew Bledsoe all the time, and he said, I don't care about the number of percentages. Are you seeing the defense as well? And right now, if you take a look at the body English on Kelsey Luke, I can't feel comfortable up here saying that he's seeing everything right now. I don't know if he knows what he's looking at.
Yeah, well, he came into the game ranked 8th in the nation in the championship subdivision in total offense, and he's under pressure right now. Sacked again for the second time tonight. He's going to be sacked all the way back to the 40-yard line by Jason Banks and company. Number 95, the senior, out of McKinley High in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And coming into the game, Kelsey Luke had only been sacked 7 times.
Yeah, you know, with a 3-man rush, where actually they got four-man rush on 5 blockers. I don't care how well you're seeing the ball downfield. If you don't have time to throw the ball, you're in trouble. So you see that was a great pass rush by John Scroggins, Jason Banks, and Christian Anthony, making the Alabama A&M pocket just completely disappear.
What's make it even more ironic is they started at the 37 of Grambling, and they're punting from their own 40. Well, we'll be joined by Shaq Harris, who's a big man in Jacksonville with the Jaguars and a quarterback of note from Grambling. He'll be with us when we come back. Robinson, of course, coached some great players here. Sent Tank Younger to the NFL, first player from a historically black college to be drafted into the National Football League. And, of course, there was Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. He was the MVP of Super Bowl 22 against the Denver Broncos. And, of course, there was James Shaq Harris, the first black quarterback in the NFL with the Rams. Right there you see him. And he'll be joining us after this play. Well, he's right with us right now. James, how you doing? Shaq, can you hear me? Well, I'm not sure. I don't hear him. Maybe he hears us. But right now, there's a little end-around play with Clyde Edwards coming to the near side for the Grambling Tigers, who picks up the first down with about a 12, make it a 9-yard run. It may be about a yard shy of a first down. We'll get back to Shaq in just a moment, having a little technical difficulties. I'm sure he's getting his team ready for Jacksonville to play tomorrow.
Yeah, they got to take on the Denver Broncos, so it's going to be a good matchup. The Jaguar defense taking on the young gun and Jay Cutler and the Denver Broncos.
Should be interesting. Great games. You know, you have these players. We talked about Johnny Baldwin and another young man from Grambling who's on the Kansas City Chiefs football team. They're sitting there watching tonight. Both of them play linebacker, and they play the Minnesota Vikings tomorrow with Tavares Jackson.
Yeah.
So you have the Alabama State, Alabama A&M Grambling connection going on.
HBCU taking it to the next level. And,
right.
you know, SWAC has always had that pride. You know, hey, we send guys to the league, and you know, and then the MEAC jumped on board, and the MEAC started sending guys to the league. But then also, you know, with Tavares Jackson getting drafted in the second round by the Vikings, and now being the start of the legacy and the tradition goes on and on in terms of players from historically black conferences moving on to the NFL.
Grambling, the first HBCU to be broadcast on a national TV game. That was on ABC back in 1968. Here's Landers looking out in the flat, has it complete to Cornelius Walker. Walker down the sideline, and Walker's out of bounds after a great gain across the 40 to the 41-yard line. And a first down, a 19-yard gain. And, you know, we talk about Grambling players. Here sent a few to the Hall of Fame. Willie Brown, Buck Buchanan, Willie Davis, Charlie Joyner. Boy, put some great ones in there, didn't they?
I mean, wow, that's right there. I mean, you got all the defense that you want, Willie Brown and Buck Buchanan, and then you got the offense. Willie Davis, it all starts in the trenches, and Charlie Joyner was legendary to watch. All those passes he caught from Dan Fouts down to San Diego. And
it certainly did. And, you know, you talk about Buck Buchanan, not only was he drafted in the Hall of Famer and a first-round draft choice, he was the first player picked when he was drafted by Kansas City. As they go on the end around this time, and again it's Clyde Edwards getting another first down, and this one a gain of 14 yards and a first down. Shaq Harris, you there?
I'm here.
First and 10 Grambling at the A&M 20-yard line.
I can't hear
And I know one thing that all the Gramblingites like seeing when you see a guy like Clyde Edwards get that ball on the old end around. Reminds you of the days when Eddie Robinson was here with the legendary wing T, running sideline to sideline.
There's a move again, and here's Cornelius Walker running with a vengeance. Shaq, what about Denver tomorrow?
Nelson on the tackle for the Bulldogs.
We're looking forward to the challenge.
Looking forward to the challenge. Well, I'm sure there's a challenge here for Grambling, and I'm sure you're happy to hear that they're leading 17-6 here in the third quarter.
Well, that is exciting. You know, that's the old Grambling way, and I'm definitely cheering for the Tigers.
Well, they keep it on the ground, but while we have you here, let's talk a little bit about what is going on with the Eddie Robinson Museum and how you're getting involved with that.
Well, you know, first of all, it's a great tribute to what we think is the greatest coach ever, and certainly a great human being. And doing that there on campus and keeping the name alive and recognizing, you know, certain great accomplishments is something very, very special. And Doug and I, with our charity and foundation, we made a donation to it. during the off season, and we're certainly looking forward to it, becoming a reality.
Well, it looks like it is going to become a reality. I talked to Coach Ellis earlier, who's heading up the museum, and it looks like it's going to happen in the next year.
Yeah, it's, being located, there on campus, where so many people get opportunities to come out there and pay tribute. We just think that's very, very special. And there's so many people now who, participating and looking forward to it.
Shaq, we heard earlier a quote from Coach Robinson talking about he had to take the challenge of getting James Shaq Harris ready for the NFL. What was involved in that challenge?
Well, I think that, a big thing that Coach had to do was go and find out, what the NFL was about himself. And he did a lot of research on the NFL and then came back and would work with me with things that didn't even apply to really like Grambling. And it was something major for him to be able to want to produce quarterbacks in the NFL. And we, Doug and myself, being two of the first, we feel one of the reasons that we did make it was because we had Coach. We feel we had an edge.
Talk about your fondest memory of Eddie Robinson.
I think the biggest, memory I had of Coach was, in the recruiting process, when he would come in shirt and tie, a true gentleman, bring his Bible, read verses with your parents and promise them that, you were going to get an education and you was going to go to church. And then when you got there, he fulfilled it. I think, when you came to Grambling as an 18-year-old, you came immature. You came with some foolish ideas a lot of times, and you didn't trust much, and you certainly didn't trust the opportunities that was available to you in America. But when you left, you left with confidence, and you left with feeling that you was prepared to be successful for the rest of your life.
One of the things that I always remembered about Eddie Robinson was the bell, the cowbell. And he made sure that he came to the dormitories in the morning and woke everybody up. He says, if you go to breakfast, you're going to go to class. I know you hate it sometimes to hear that bell, right, James?
No, not at all, because I was one came there to get a degree, and I think once you got there and understood his way, you understood the importance of getting a degree, and we had a lot of people going to class and getting degrees, so he had to get it for a few of us, and those guys ended up graduating as well.
Shaq, for everybody that never had an opportunity to meet and experience Eddie Robinson, tell us something about Coach Rob that most people don't know.
Like I say, I think the thing about Coach that I think I guess most people do know now is that he was concerned about each and every one of his players. We sent a lot of players to the pros, but I know being an athlete, going back and seeing how many people he just helped get jobs, coaching jobs, teaching jobs, calling on people that he knew, I think was a great tribute to him being concerned about everybody he coached. He used to say he just wanted to touch the lives of his players, and, he did that in a big way.
When you talk about coaching down here at Grambling, you guys have a new head coach down here, Rob Broadway. What do you think about Rob Broadway as a new head coach, and what can you look forward to?
We're excited about, Broadway. He was coach of the year last year over at North Carolina Central. Has, gotten off. I was at the game in Pittsburgh, and I like the way they're doing things, organized, and the way they're coaching. And I think he's going to be good for Grambling.
Well, James Harris, you've been good for Grambling as an ambassador for the school, and of course we wish you much success with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And thanks for joining us and sharing in some of your memories of the legendary Coach Eddie Robinson.
Well, thank you very much, and all of us, the players, also would like to say thanks to Mrs. Robinson, because she was there along the way. We used to wake up a lot of times at night, and she played a big role too as well. Thank you.
All right, Shaq Harris joining us by way of telephone as this team gets ready to take on the Denver Broncos tomorrow. As you saw, the Alabama A&M, as we were talking to Shaq, wound up punting the ball after they started their own 20 and punted from their own 22. Now Grambling getting the ball for the third time this afternoon. First down and 10.
Can you imagine if you're a guy like Brandon Landers and you're the quarterback at Grambling State University? I mean, you talk about legacy with Shaq Harris, and then you got Doug Williams, and you got Clemente Gordon, and you got Randy Himes,
Tremaine Johnson. I mean,
you've got all these guys.
Sammy White.
And then you got Bruce Eugene.
Yeah, Sammy White. I mean, we're not just talking about quarterbacks. We're just talking about people in general who've come through here. And Sammy's on the coaching staff here. And here's a pass out in the flat, and here's Clyde Edwards with the reception. And Clyde Edwards across the 45 to the 46-yard line, and a first down for the Tigers of Grambling.
And that was a great job by Clyde Edwards, a senior, of knowing where the first down marker was. You'll see Brandon Landers come around, square his shoulders, do a good job getting something on this ball. And watch Clyde look for the first down marker, make himself small, and take that one last step over the 45-yard line to get the first down for the Tigers.
Last year against Alabama A&M, and that overtime loss, it was a 5-reception game for Clyde Edwards. Got 5 receptions for 100 yards. Now they're going to the sideline. Looks like a player is down, and that is an Alabama A&M player down on the other side of the chains. We're not sure who it is, but one of the players is shaken up on the play. First down and 10. There it is. And we'll step aside as they tend to the player for Alabama A&M. We'll be back here. 17-6 is our score.
Remember that.
First down and 10. You know, you always talk about memories of people. I remember Eddie Robinson always had a briefcase with him on the sideline. As a coach, you'd wonder why a coach would take a briefcase out of the field. And people say he always had a ham sandwich in there just in case he got hungry.
Hey, got to eat. Never know when you get hungry. Wish I had a briefcase right now.
Here's a little pitch back to Edwards trying to come around the near side, and he's going to get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. That was a first down play. You talk about Clyde Edwards and what he's been able to do. Third leading scorer in the SWAC coming into today's game. 11th all-time with 2,503 yards as far as a receiver is concerned. And he needed 25 yards coming in the game to surpass Torrance Small, and needed 34 yards to go by Reggie Barlow, the new head coach over at Alabama State, into 9th place.
Keep moving up the depth chart.
No question.
You pass one guy, Torrance Small from Alcorn, then you go past Alabama State. You know, with this type of offense, he's definitely going to get plenty of touches. We know that for sure. What's he going to do when he gets the ball in his hands?
Wide open in the middle of the field. They get it complete. Grambling State University. And that is Kavars Hills, the wide receiver out of Clinton, Louisiana.
Good job. Watch this strike coming right at you on the skinny post route there, and he put that ball right between the 8 and the 5. Looked like Shaq Harris delivering that strike there. Plenty of arm speed and arm strength behind it.
He's a big-time receiver. You know, last year he was injured. Well, not injured, but most of the numbers that he had in terms of receptions, 9, all came after October 28th. He caught all those.
Got on fire.
Yeah, he caught on fire at the end of the year. Here's a quick pass out in the flat. And on the catch is Edwards. Edwards breaks a tackle. Still on his feet. Finally brought down by Dominique Cummings, number 96. But he broke a tackle and picked up the additional yards he needed and got the first down.
You know, they're making this passing game look so simple. I mean, they're throwing a 5-yard out, a skinny post here, a curl here and here. This is just a simple out pattern. Get the ball to the playmaker in space, and you've got a wide receiver going on a slot linebacker there. Hey, make a shake, get some extra yardage, some of those rack yards, or run after catch.
Run after catch. They used to have, you know, it's interesting to watch this formation that Broadway has and what Doug brought to the team, because like you said, you're always so used to looking at that wing formation that Eddie Robinson ran with Tremaine Johnson and Tramon Douglas and all those guys. Yeah, Sammy White, and you know, to see it open up a little bit, it was so interesting.
Yeah, it is. You know, how such a change. And what I really liked about when Doug Williams came in here is he wanted to throw the football. You know that, and they went wide open. But there were times in that game when they were going to pound it out, and they would line up in that old Grambling wing tee. And they brought out the nostalgia. It was kind of when the throwback jerseys became real popular, they go to that throwback offense, and they were very effective running it too.
No question about it. The double I from the receiver spot. I guess that's the formation I'll call it. Here's a pass, and this is a throwaway. You know, we talked about the Hall of Famers. Grambling right now has 6 players playing in the NFL. You have Jason Hatcher with the Dallas Cowboys, a defensive end. Fakir Brown, a DB with St. Louis. Calvin Pearson with Tampa Bay, a defensive back. David Hicks, that's the young man I was saying with Johnny Baldwin. They're both out of the SWAC and both rookies in the NFL.
What is this?
Linebacker. I don't know. Bomarewski. They're going the other way. And look at it. On the way is Jackson. Touchdown, Grambling. 26 yards.
Wow, expect the unexpected. We were up here. We could see it up top. We couldn't tell what was going on.
You know the defense didn't know.
No, they couldn't see it down there on field level. Looked like Brandon Landers just grabbed that ball and placed it on the ground. My only argument with that would be when he put it on the ground, it looked like it was a fumble, and you can't advance a forward fumble. He didn't put that ball behind him. It'd be interesting to see what that looks like on the replay, but nevertheless, they got away with it.
23-6. They make it 24-6 with the point after, with 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. And the ability to win here in Grambling for Alabama A&M doesn't seem to change no matter who's coaching, whether it's Melvin Spears, whether it's Rod Broadway or Doug Williams.
So as soon as he got that ball, see they lined up Reginald Jackson in the backfield. As soon as Landers got that ball, he turned around and left it there. So it wasn't the fumble on the Bomarewski. See, he's got that ball, and he put that ball underneath his legs. Oh, that's great camera work to catch that there. So Reggie Jackson just sat there, didn't move, and he placed the ball underneath his legs for the touchdown. And wow, high risk, high reward.
26 yards on the run. And look at Rod Broadway. You know, we asked him, he said, what kind of talent when you compare what you had at North Carolina Central? You talked to him a little bit about that yesterday.
I did. It was interesting. He didn't want to take anything away from his current team, but you can understand, hey, that team he had at North Carolina Central was battle tested. They were Black College national champions, and he said there were a number of guys that could play.
Look at him smiling.
Here.
I got him, didn't I? That's what he said. I got him.
The old coach knows what he's doing. That's what he's telling them. Trust me, boys. Trust me. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He had a championship. In fact, the 2-time defending CIAA champs at North Carolina Central, a team that's moving from the CIAA to the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference next year. They're in the transition year now, and kind of interesting to see how they.
He's one of the few coaches that had the ability to go from Division I football to Black College football and have immediate success.
And there's a good return coming back up the field by Ulysses Banks for Alabama A&M. And don't forget, ESPNU delivers more action from the gridiron. It's Thursday night. Speaking of the MEAC, the Norfolk State Spartans taking on the Aggies of North Carolina A&T from Greensboro. Jay and I will be there for that one. It's Thursday primetime college football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Comes your way Thursday night at ESPNU at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. For more information, just log on to ESPNU.com.
For anybody who doesn't know it, that Norfolk State Spartan marching band is one of Charlie Neal's favorite black college bands.
I love to watch them. I do love to watch them play.
You can't even deny that.
No, indeed. From their own 37-yard line, Kelsey Luke rolling out to his right now, takes off and runs down the sidelines, and he did actually step out of bounds after a gain of about 6 or 7.
See, and that's the play call I was talking about, giving them an opportunity to roll out from the pocket where you can still keep your running game as a threat, hard play action fake, get them outside the pocket. Now it's a run pass option here. Either somebody's open or they're not. They turn their back to your defense, and you pick up positive yardage. I think that's what's been missing, the bootlegs and the screens. We haven't seen Alabama A&M run an effective screen, and you take a look here at the numbers, and it's been all Grambling and a very tough night for the Alabama A&M offense.
Maybe the last play of the third quarter here as they try to keep it on the ground. They stuff that run as they go with Anthony Green, the freshman out of San Antonio, Texas. And that's going to bring the third quarter to an end here at Robinson Stadium in Grambling, Louisiana. It's the home opener for the Tigers since the death of the legendary coach Eddie Robinson, and they lead it big, 18-point advantage with 15 minutes of football left. You're watching ESPNU College Football presented by Citi. And we're here in Ruston, Louisiana, Grambling, Louisiana, right down the road from Reston, along with Jay Walker, Charlie Neal, Alabama A&M taking on Grambling State University. 15 minutes of football remaining, and it's been all Grambling basically in this game. As you look at the points for Alabama A&M, averaging 45 points a game, only 6 so far today. Boy, that average is going to fall. And Brandon Landers came in as the #2 passer in the SWAC. Right now, he's taking over the #1 spot, right?
Yeah, it won't be hard for him to get that #1 spot. In fact, this has been a quarter's worth of offensive production, and it's taken him 3 quarters just to get 6 points on the board and 100+ yards of total offense.
Yeah, that's not very productive. At the 44-yard line, Kelsey Luke takes it all the way down. You know, he had a brother who played here a year ago, Nick Luke, who was career rushing leader, 2,073 yards and 17 touchdowns. Who left him, and of course they lost a lot of players. Anytime you have a squad that does well, you're going to lose players from the previous year, but they're going to go for it on 4th down here, deep in their own territory. Do you agree with this?
Well, no, I agree with what they're doing now. Hey, they tried to get him off sides. It didn't work.
Yeah, they're going to probably punt it away.
Back in and punt it away.
But they take the penalty, so it's a delay of game penalty. They didn't call a timeout. They get the punting unit on, so disciplined defense by Grambling Tigers. They didn't jump off sides. Cliff Yoshida, who I remember him with Bill Hayes down at North Carolina A&T, and then he went over to North Carolina Central and worked with
and he's doing
Coach
a great job right now.
Yes, so he is.
No questions about that. I mean, you know, Grambling came in this game 1-1. The one loss was to football bowl series subdivision, Pitt Panthers. So you don't fault him for that loss there.
Close to being blocked that time. Fair catch called for and made right at about the 9-yard line. You know, they talked about all the great offensive players that came through Grambling State University. One of the great defensive players, Everson Walls, who just recently was featured as a man who gave a kidney to Ron Springs, a teammate in Dallas.
Yeah, he said that was a direct correlation to something that Coach Rob would have wanted him to do. You know, you talk about offense, and you know I'm a quarterback. I like doing that, but Wallpaper was one of the best in the business, bringing man-to-man coverage in the NFL. Quality football player, even a more quality person off the field in life.
Everson Walls. 13 Black College National Championships, 21 SWAC titles for the Grambling State Tigers. 4-0 in SWAC championships since the SWAC championship has come into existence. They beat Alabama A&M 3 times, and they beat Alabama State twice. Here's a pass out in the flat to Reggie Jackson, and Reggie brought down at about the 16-yard line, a gain of 6. You're talking about the SWAC championship. You know, the first time that they won a SWAC championship was 1960. They had 17 before the championship game, 21 all total. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And they shared in some of those, but I mean, you know, that's quite a
coming in first is coming in first. If somebody wants to join you at the podium, let them.
But talking about the SWAC championship, they beat Alabama A&M in 2000, 2002, and 2005 A&M, and they beat Alabama State in 2001. And they keep it on the ground once again and get out to about the 16-yard line. We have a penalty flag down by the line judge on the near side.
And that should be a neutral zone infraction all the way out to where the wide receivers were. And you hate to see that if you're a defensive coordinator.
You know what's so interesting? You look at this roster, this Grambling team, Jay, and there's 13 players on this team from the state of Alabama.
And probably 9 of those 13 come from Parker High School. 7 from Birmingham.
Well, 7 of them from Birmingham, and I don't think they all went to the same high school.
On the defense, number 19, 5-yard penalty.
And Parker High is a school that's located right down the street from Legion Field in Birmingham.
After the 5-yard offside.
Can Coach Rob Broadway keep that streak alive and that pipeline with that great talent coming out of Birmingham? And look at that. I mean,
there were 5 head coaches before Eddie. Nobody can believe that because nobody knew there was anybody before Eddie. And then, of course, Eddie Robinson also coached basketball. And that's one of the reasons why they're going to put the museum over in the girls' gym, because he was a basketball coach here at Grambling at one time.
Yeah, he was Grambling.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. You talk about they go hand in hand together. Grambling, Eddie Robinson. Eddie Robinson, Grambling State.
And if you want to know more about the Grambling tribute and the Eddie Robinson Museum, www.robinsonmuseum.com. second down. 2nd and 6. On the end around, coming to the near side. What a move this time. Put on by Clyde Edwards, and he's brought down at the 30-yard line. Very close to a first down.
That's not fair. That is not fair. You've got the nose tackle, Donald Williams, doing a stunt on the outside. He's got outside contain. Whoop! No more. He had outside contain, and that's just a football player being a football player.
Yeah.
That tells you what type of defense. You know, Donald Williams doubles up as a nose tackle sometimes, and he weighs 285 pounds. In most defenses, he would be a defensive end. Here at A&M, he's a nose tackle / defensive end.
3rd down and 1.
One-on-one coverage. I think Brandon Landers sees the blitz coming. He's going to call an aggressive play, but he won't be able to get it off in time.
He's going to have to call a timeout to keep from being penalized. So they use their first timeout. And each team with 2 timeouts remaining. Don't forget to log on to your online source for all things college sports. It's ESPNU.com. It's an online service that is the gateway to all college sports content from ESPN, which combines the latest news with an expanded collection of exclusive material, scores, columns, video, and audio highlights, podcasts, live streaming games, and much, much more. We want you to log on to ESPNU.com today. And if you don't have ESPNU, be sure to log on to ESPNU.com. Type in your zip code at the top of the page, or pick up the phone and call your local cable operator or satellite provider, because we are college sports. Along with Jay Walker, I'm Charlie Neal. We're in Grambling, Louisiana for this SWAC matchup. When you look at the SWAC standings, you know, you have Alabama A&M 1-0 in conference play, 3-0 overall. Alabama State is 2-0 in the conference. Jackson State 1-0. Mississippi Valley 1-2, and Alcorn 0-2. Alcorn and Alabama State playing today, as is Jackson State and Mississippi Valley, and Texas Southern playing UTEP. Tennessee State's at Southern, and Pine Bluff is at Southern Illinois as they keep the ball on the ground again, running to the near side. The Grambling Tigers running out the yards, and Cornelius Walker, who has a touchdown already in the ball game, picks up the first down. That was a 3rd down and 1 play.
That was a key pickup right there, because what you want to do is you still have to respect Alabama A&M in terms of the offense has been shut down thus far, but the more you can keep them on the sideline, the better chance that you have at securing this victory here. You know, one thing I was looking at, you talk about the matchup problems, and that's what happens in football. You know, Coach Jones has had a lot of success since he's been at Alabama A&M, but the one school he doesn't have much success against,
Grambling. Yeah.
2 wins in his career, coupled against 6 losses.
Not much happening that time in the running game for the Tigers of Grambling.
So at this point, you look for the Coach Jones staff to get aggressive. I mean, now you got to take some chances, because you've got a little less than 11 minutes in this football game, and Grambling's showing, hey, we can throw the ball sideline to sideline, which is just like a running play. So you got to shoot the gaps and try and force some turnovers. And one thing Alabama A&M can do on defense, if you give them the opportunity and get too careless with the footballs, they can force you to turn the ball over.
Of course, Anthony Jones, as the pressure is coming on the quarterback Landers, throws it behind his intended receiver down inside the 45-yard line. Nate Lewis, the intended receiver. He played his collegiate ball as a tight end at Wichita State, played on a Super Bowl championship team with the Washington Redskins. So he knows a lot about winning. He knows a lot about discipline and getting it done. He earned his collegiate playing attributes from Willie Jeffries.
Yeah, you know, he's one of those guys where he's not a good coach. He's a great coach. I mean, since he's taken over at Alabama A&M, they've never won any less than 7 games. You know, so when you talk about a program that was 4-7 the year before he took over. So I always said his days at Alabama A&M are numbered, because somebody's going to come hire him because he does it the right way.
Landers just went down under a little pressure there from the defense.
31-yard line.
And this is a tribute to the coach.
Cummings, yeah.
I mean, you know, they're keeping the pressure going. I mean, nothing's going. You're down by 18, but they're going to keep on coming. And that's what they're going to do. And you see Landers here didn't like something that he's seeing. Wow, what a great rush by number 98. Is coming straight up the middle with the bull rush hard to get penetration on the quarterback was Justin Harper.
No snap. Here's the punt by Manuel. And here's a return. Ulysses Banks. We have a flag all the way down. The ball is on the ground. Still chasing it Still loose. Grambling has it. I think
loose.
We're not sure who has it. I think it's Grambling, but there's a penalty marker down. Let's see.
I don't think it's a flag. I actually think the ball.
Maybe it wasn't a penalty marker.
I think it fell out as flag. I think it fell out because it was there from the beginning of the kick.
Well, no, they're standing over it. They're standing over it at the 27, 28-yard line. Here's the flag.
It was there before the ball was kicked.
Oh, it may have been offsides. So maybe they'll kick it again.
That far back. Take a look here. You see him.
Whoops.
Oh, wow. Helmet on football.
Yeah.
Ball comes out 90% of the time.
And nobody wanted it.
And then it became slippery like it was covered in grease. Squirt.
Oh.
Oh, they got it back. Or no. Oh,
no.
He lost it in the fight.
Yeah.
Oh, no. He's going to be upset. He just got out muscle for that ball. Get in the weight room, son. Work on some right arm curls because you were a little weak. You had your hands on the football. Let a little defensive back take it from you.
Well, there's a discussion of the striped shirts at the 27, 28-yard line. I think they're trying to discuss what time the restaurant's close. Look, can we get out of here so we go eat?
Substitution. Alabama A&M, the 12th man was trying to get off the field, did not make it. Penalties are going to be declined. Grounds ball, 1st and 10.
So it was too many men on the field. Illegal substitution. They had 12 men on the field, and it is a turnover. And Grambling will get the ball in great field position.
That look says it all, doesn't it? I mean, just nothing's going right. We can't even get 12 guys off the field in time. But it's been a tough road trip for them. We talked to the coaching staff, and last night the hot water went off in their hotel, so they had to wake up this morning and take cold showers. Not a good trip to Grambling, Louisiana this time around for the Bulldogs.
Should be intercepted, and it's incomplete in the end zone. Stephen Tucker was the defender down there. Grambling intended receiver, number 82, Nick Lewis.
You know, that's one of those examples you talk about when coaches always teach DBs, go get the ball at its highest point. Go get it at its highest point. Now watch how long this ball hangs in the air. Stephen Tucker waits for the ball to come to him. Instead of stopping and jumping for the football, he let that ball come to him, got distracted, incomplete pass instead of an interception. Alabama A&M football.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here in the Western Division of the SWAC with Southern, Grambling, and those two. The Bayou Classic may decide the championship. This one goes over everybody's head. If they continue to, when you look at the schedules down the road and they continue to play well, you know, even though Grambling has lost to Pitt, it was a non-conference game.
It was, and look at the big pressure being applied here on the stunt, coming all the way around from the nose tackle position. Ronaldo Askew putting the hit on Brandon Landers, forcing the incomplete pass.
3rd and 10 for the Grambling Tigers. The ball at the 31 of Alabama A&M. They lead it 24-6. First turnover of the ball game by Alabama A&M. Grambling turned it over earlier in the contest that led to the first score by Alabama A&M, a field goal. And that's all that Alabama A&M has been able to muster today is a field goal. This one is caught. Great catch by Reggie Jackson. And Reggie has a first down at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, Reggie's been tough. I mean, he's not a very big guy, but he's tough, and he knows how to catch the ball and make himself small. Look at this, right over Jimmy Richardson. Hopped over one, get hit by the other. Still, it takes a licking.
Keeps on ticking. Yeah. Came into the day's game as tied for 8th in the nation in the championship subdivision in receiving yards per game. Came in averaging 115 yards in receptions a game.
How can you say it so much smoother than I can? Championship subdivision.
That's all it is.
1 AA to me.
And they keep it on the ground trying to run student body left.
Look at the cheerleaders. They don't know what's going on in the game there. They got their pyramid going.
Yeah, I'm glad that he didn't crash into that pyramid. It might have been disaster, huh?
Yeah, they're a little close to that sideline to have that type of formation they had there with Reginald Jackson. One thing about him, he's been great all game long. He's really been active. And you take a look at the Grambling State cheerleaders. I mean, we think, and we see black college football games all over the country. That's the largest cheerleading staff we've seen.
You know, while we have a moment, I just want to send our condolences, I guess is the best way to say it, to the Delaware State family for the incident that happened up there over the weekend or last night, and hope everybody's going to be all right because of it. Fortunately, they were off today as far as football was concerned. They didn't have a game. Here's a throw into the end zone. Incomplete.
We talk about that Delaware State campus. I mean, during the summer, they actually had some students that were shot in
Newark, New Jersey.
Newark, New Jersey. And then they follow that up, and there it is. We're less than a month into the school year and to have something like that. I mean, you don't wish that on anybody, let alone college-age kids.
It is 3rd down and 10. Grambling. Ball at the 20-yard line. They converted the last 3rd down play with the 11-yard pass to Reggie Jackson. Here's the pass, and this one is complete for a 1st down. And this time on the reception is 85, and that's Tavares Hills. He's caught a few tonight.
Look at the middle of your screen. You're going to see him come in from your right side. Just get right past the linebacker in the middle of that cover 2 defense. We've seen more and more teams on the college level have really gotten good at attacking that cover 2 defense. You play it too soft, these little wide receivers can get in that gap, and it's a timing pattern executed perfectly by Grambling.
And the quarterback kept it. I don't know if that was a miscommunication between him and Frank Warren, the running back, but there was nobody there. But you look at Hills, who's had 4 receptions tonight, 84 yards. Not a bad night for the senior out of Clinton, Louisiana.
He's really spread around, and you know, a lot of people just took for granted Grambling was down. They were 3-8 last year, and they thought they were done. But when you look at this roster, besides the running back position, there are plenty of seniors on this team that got a taste of winning. You've got 3 senior wide receivers. You got a graduate student tight end, Tim Abney. 3 seniors on the offensive line. So this Grambling team is going to be tough to beat. 1 year later, after a dismal 3-8 campaign, look for the Tigers to compete again for the SWAC championship.
Yeah, they were 3-8, 3-6 in the conference a year ago. They were picked to finish 2nd in the Western Division behind the defending Western Division champs, Arkansas Pine Bluff. But Arkansas Pine Bluff find themselves in 4th place right now behind Prairie View after losing 2 conference games.
And the key in that side of the division in the west of the Louisiana schools are back. I mean, Southern got off to a great start, 3-0 right away, and Grambling looks to be back. So looks like things are back to the way they used to be, the way they were in the SWAC for many years, with the Louisiana schools dominating the west side.
Pass, touchdown, Grambling State University. And getting into the end zone again is Reggie Jackson.
From start to finish, this has been an offensive showcase by Grambling State. Rarely does this happen to an Alabama A&M defense coached by Bronski Town. See him there, he did a good job of selling the flat route, then cut back in on the inside on the seam. And after you score down here at Grambling, what do you get? Look out. Boom!
So 2 touchdown passes tonight for Brandon Landers. One went to Edwards to open the scoring, and this one goes to Reggie Jackson. And they're trying to stretch their lead to 31-6.
Just to tell you how great a performance this is, in the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it's been 5 years since Alabama State gave up 30 points in a football game.
In a football game, period. Not just a Grambling. They just don't give up those type of points. 31-6, 6:22 to go in this one.
Ready every day, because you never know when that opportunity comes about, you know, and just always be prepared. You know, he talked about the 5 P's all the time. Is proper preparation prevents poor performance, you know, and you must prepare for anything that you do. And he talked to us about that a lot, you know, and that was before me, during my time, after my time, and that's it was just something that he talked about all the time, and that's just being prepared.
31-6. Our score, Lee Fobbs, the head coach of the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. He's struggling a little bit. Came into today's game having lost 19 straight and played his collegiate ball here under Eddie Robinson.
Sign of great coaches is how many of your proteges go on to have success in the coaching ranks. And true testimony, Coach Rob was truly one of the great coaches. When you got guys like Lee Fobbs going off and coaching, and Doug Williams, the success he had here, Doug Porter,
No question. Doug Porter down on the sidelines right now. Ulysses Banks, he will be stopped shy of the 15-yard line. They're going to mark it right at the 15. And I guess it's kind of fitting that the rain is starting to come down here in Robinson Stadium as far as raining on Alabama A&M's parade. You know, the last time they didn't score a touchdown, they scored 6 points in the game, but the last time they didn't score a touchdown was right here
against Grambling. They got blanked 44-zip.
Right.
So sometimes in certain teams it just create matchup problems. And I think for Anthony Jones, he still hasn't, although he's been very successful in conference, he still has not solved that riddle that is Grambling State football.
31-6. If somebody had told you that's going to be the score, you wouldn't have believed it, would you?
Well, I would have thought that Alabama A&M blew them out.
Right.
You know, the Grambling struggled. They came in averaging 45 points, and to get shut down just to 6 points and actually get this dismantled, tough to watch.
Kelsey Luke gets the pass off, has it complete, still on his feet, and picking up the first down. And it's Gerald Stockdale on the reception. Stockdale gets the first down.
They've had to work for everything. This is indicative. You see Kelsey Luke making 2 or 3 Tiger defenders miss, and then he finally gets out the pocket, keeps his vision downfield, and hits Stockdale for the completion. And all that said and done, 11-yard gain for a first down. That's really working hard for your money this evening.
And he's sacked this time for the 3rd time this evening. Kelsey Luke is going to be dropped. We'll make that the 4th sack this evening for the Grambling Tigers. This time coming up was Justin Akpara.
So everybody's getting there. They're starting to clear their depth chart, and I think Coach Broadway's going to see which one of the youngsters, which one of the bench warmers can make some plays for us.
Well, they're going to keep it on the ground and try to run something out here. They're bringing up a 3rd down, 3rd and about 5, make it 4 for the Bulldogs. That's McWhorter, the fullback, a freshman out of Jasper, Alabama. Went to Walker High School there. You know, Grambling got it started early. They took the opening drive, went all the way down the field, 67 yards, and that's of the ball game. Landers a 17-yard pass to Edwards, and they never looked back.
Yeah, I think Alabama A&M was attempting the typical deep ball with the Tiger stretch offense they used to run, and they came out with the short ball. They said, we're going to test your tackling skills in the secondary, and they exploited the lack of physical play by the Alabama A&M secondary.
Paul Kellum, wide receiver. And Anthony Jones letting some of the other people play right now, as the team has no chance probably of scoring 25 points here in the last 4 minutes of this ball game. In fact, they're getting ready to punt it away. It's a 4th down at the 34-yard line. Next week they'll take on Texas Southern. Hopefully, I'm sure they'll feel better. They'll be at home. It'll be homecoming, but then they
be careful.
It doesn't get any. I know
Texas Southern beat them
last year.
Yeah. So you got to be careful if you're Alabama A&M. That is no gimme game, regardless of Texas Southern's record. They've beaten you before.
They're going to call a flag that interfering with the ability to make the catch, and now it is picked up by Grambling State's Lance Castleberry, and Castleberry is brought down at about the 5 or 15-yard line. Interference with the ability to catch the ball.
Interfering with opportunity to catch a kick on the kicking team. 15
First down from the spot of the foul. 31-6 our score. 3:32 remaining here in Grambling.
Titan is a strategic vision total quality award leader. It's also the only truck tough enough to deliver college football's most coveted award. The Heisman, brought to you by the Nissan Titan.
Yeah, this head ball, coach. Hey, I told you he could really go.
We don't need help remodeling our kitchen. I can do this. Trust me.
I have an idea.
The Home Depot is the answer. Our home services installers are pros you can trust who use the best materials. And right now get no payments, no interest for 12 months on all installations of $299 or more.
My work here is done.
Honey, give me the hammer.
The Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
The Southwestern Athletic Conference, founded in 1920, home to 10 outstanding institutions of higher learning that's dedicated to offering challenging educational opportunities to talented students and future leaders from all across America. Whether in the classroom or on the field of play, the SWAC is committed to building character and champions. The Southwestern Athletic Conference, focused on service, scholarship, and shaping the minds of our future leaders.
Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here.
Maybe your car is trying to tell you something. Maybe it's asking for the hard-working gasoline at Phillips 66. Gas specially formulated to help clean fuel injectors in 5 tanks, which helps you maximize mileage and reduce emissions. Give your car what it's asking for. Give it Phillips 66. Hard-working gas.
3:32 remaining, 31-6 our score, and join host Lowell Galindo and analyst Mike Godfrey and Tom Luganbill for Inside the Polls, where you get the most in-depth look at the college football polls plus a weekly Heisman watch. All that and more on ESPNU. And it's Inside the Polls, presented by 76, Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And for more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Charlie Neal, Jay Walker here in Grambling, Louisiana, on a night in which we paid tribute to the legendary coach Eddie Robinson. The first home game for the Grambling Tigers since his death back in April of 2007. New quarterback in the lineup for the Grambling Tigers is Curligan. Larry Curligan, a senior from Lamarck, Texas. Hasn't thrown any passes this year. They say he's very athletic. He's the type of kid. He's out already, huh? Look like he's limping.
He came up limping.
Jeez.
They were real excited about him. You get into that, how excited they are about his athleticism.
Yeah, they said he's got to touch the ball, whether it's catching passes or what. So they come back into the lineup with Brandon Landers back in there.
That's something that you don't want to do, is have to bring in a cold quarterback.
Right.
One that was hot, then you put him on the bench and bring him back. It's that time of year where you obviously start talking about who are the Play of the Year candidates you got in terms of black college, who can win the Walter Payton Award, the candidates there. And, coming in, my front runner was Kelsey Luke from Alabama A&M, a quarterback.
Well, everybody has a bad game.
He had a bad game. You got Shahir McBride doing big things at Delaware State. They could be the best team in black college football. Chad Simpson, he's running like crazy. And the freshman phenom down in Tallahassee, Florida, Philip Sylvester is my sleeper. Then you got Lamar Little and Clyde Edwards here, who did a lot of things to help his cause. And Lamar Little, Virginia Union, a little general getting done. And on the bottom, to beat a man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah,
Black College Player of the Year last year, Stafford Brown.
Quarterback that led them to the national championship and the CIAA championship. And they're just trying to run the clock out again. This time Walker running the ball. As you look at the numbers on Kelsey Luke tonight, 117 yards. You know, I say he didn't have a good game. It's not a one-man team effort. I mean, it's 11 men on offense, 11 men on defense, plus special teams. So, you know, you can't put it all on him.
Yep, that's true. But, you know, I'm one of those guys, I'm a firm believer in terms of winning Player of the Year awards and things like that. When you're on TV, that's your time to shine. You know, people that vote for that, they only get so many opportunities to see you. And when they see you on national TV and you don't play well, it does turn out to be detrimental towards getting postseason accolades. Now, I think he's going to have a good enough year where he'll be right back in the mix. But definitely a disappointing performance by Alabama A&M's quarterback, Kelsey Luke, this evening.
Walker, there's Kelsey Luke. As you said, he took them to the championship game last year. He's been here from Phoenix City, Alabama. He started his college career at Auburn and then transferred to Alabama A&M. He's a fifth-year senior, and they say he's like a coach on the field. He's a stabilizing force, but he has to play well in order for the team to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, he does. I mean, he's a great kid, too. First and foremost, I mean, a great kid, quality, just as kind as can be and polite, and a good football player. I mean, he's a winner. Over the years, you know, he's one of the quarterbacks you have an acquired taste for, and you acquire it when he keeps beating your team year after year after year, winning more football games. And this senior year, he really was putting on a showcase, and look for him to rebound and continue to have a fantastic senior campaign.
Yeah, he led the team to 7 wins as a freshman, 9 wins the last 2 seasons, total of 22 wins, you know, so he's a winner. I mean, like you said, sometimes the dog bites you, sometimes you bite the dog, and the night that he got bit by the tiger.
Yeah, talk about winners, you know, Rob Broadway, the winning just keeps coming for Rob Broadway coach teams, whether it's North Carolina Central last year or down here at this new stomping ground, the yard of Grambling State University. Rob Broadway is establishing himself as a winner amongst the black college coaching ranks.
And they go to 2-1 overall. They're 2-0 in terms of conference play. We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back to wrap things up from Grambling, Louisiana, as Grambling State wins it 31-6 over the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M.
When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you.
Professional driver on a closed course.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Touareg 2 V6 for only $399 a month.
Remember that Monday when you made gumbo in honor of the Saints' big return to the Superdome? And how when the Saints blocked that first punt, a couple of friends weren't feeling so hot? And how when they scored on that double reverse, half the room was doubled over in pain? And as the Saints made football history, everyone was in tears, but it had nothing to do with the joy on the field? Remember that? Well, this Monday, when Vince Young and the Titans head south to take on Reggie Bush and the Saints, don't serve shrimp you bought out of the back of a car.
Attention football fans, gear up for the season like never before with this NFL Performer Jacket with the logo of your favorite team free. Plus this NFL collectible football free. That's right, get this Team Choice NFL Jacket free when you order 56 issues of Sports Illustrated at only $1.59 each. Save 65% off the cover price. Use your credit card and get this NFL football also free. As a special bonus, order at sioffer.com and get this SI gym bag also free. With SI, you'll get the sharpest NFL insights and analysis, spectacular photos, and coverage of all your favorite sports. The SI Fantasy Football section, the must-have preview issues, and the sizzling hot swimsuit issue. And this Team Choice NFL Performer Jacket free. Use your credit card and get this NFL football also free. And if you order at sioffer.com, get this SI gym bag also free.
Call 1-800-234-9400 now. Call 1-800-234-9400 or visit sioffer.com.
I used to now get big arms, a ripped chest, and cut abs with the perfect push-up. The perfect push-up works with the natural rotation of your arms and shoulders to maximize results and minimize stress on your body. With the perfect push-up, your hands, arms, and shoulders rotate 90 degrees, just like in a punch. All the energy of a push-up is captured and transmitted right where you want it, to the muscles. There's no wasted effort, just muscle-building movement. And as your arms rotate, you feel it work in your biceps, your triceps, your chest and abs, and your shoulders. Invented by a U.S. Navy SEAL and made with steel and a ball-bearing movement, it's the push-up perfected. So here's the deal. The perfect push-up is only 2 payments of $19.95. When you order, you'll receive 2 perfect push-up rotational handles, and you'll also receive the Navy SEAL-inspired perfect push-up workout chart. You'll be ripped in no time. Get big fast. Call right now for the perfect push-up.
Call 1-800-543-0376.
ESPNU College Football presented by Citi. Let's get it done. Final score from Grambling, Louisiana at Robinson Stadium. Doug Williams and Eddie Robinson there in that picture. They win it 31-6 on their home opener here over Alabama A&M. Your thoughts, Jay?
It was a game, measuring stick game. Which one of these teams is for real? And Grambling proved it for real. Alabama A&M probably made more doubters than believers with their performance tonight. But it's early in the season. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
That's going to be very interesting going down the road. Of course, Prairie View is on Grambling's schedule for the next week. And then Alabama A&M, of course, they go home for homecoming against Texas Southern. And the final score, 31-6. Don't forget to join us next week as we travel to Mobile, Alabama for the Gold Coast Classic. The Jaguars of Southern taking on the Hornets of Alabama State. SWAC football on ESPNU next week. For more information, log on to your home for the finest in college sports, ESPNU.com. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. On behalf of Jay Walker and our entire ESPN crew and all of us at ESPNU, Charlie Neal saying so long from Grambling. And we will never forget the legendary coach, Eddie Robinson.
This is Sports Center U.
Welcome to Sports Center U. I'm Lowell Galindo with Tom Luganbill. You know, Georgia head coach Mark Richt closed practice before the Bama game. We closed rehearsals before this Sports Center U. We kind of think the guys at ESPN News are trying to rip off our stuff. Look out, boys. You don't mess with the U. And you don't mess with Alabama, or do you? Third quarter, it's all tied at 10, but no Sean Marino knows what to do. That makes it 17-10 Georgia. 1:15 to go in the game. John Parker Wilson, the hero last week. Can he do it on Saturday night? He does it with his legs, tying it up at 20. 12 seconds left, same score. It's 4th down for Georgia. And what happens, Tom?
He converts. They tried to go to the back. Alabama knew they were going to try and attempt to do it and left the tight end wide open in the middle of the field.
Brandon Coutu for the win. Wide left. We go to overtime. But Georgia comes up with something great. First play in their OT section. And that's Stafford to Mikey Henderson for the touchdown. Georgia wins this one 26-23. Mark Richt now 9-2 on the road versus ranked teams as Georgia wins in OT 26-23. You know, Florida coach Urban Meyer would have said about Stafford that he grew the whiskers in that final portion of the game. What did you see that so impressed you by Stafford in the closing minutes?
You know, Lowell, he just keeps weathering the storm regardless of how many footballs his wide receivers drop. I saw at least 4 drops at critical points in the game for Georgia with balls that Matthew Stafford put right on the money, yet he still finishes 19-35. I really loved his poise down the stretch. When it got tough on the road and the stadium got loud, he elevated his game, and it was the series that led them to be able to have that field goal attempt, even though they missed it, that showed me an awful lot about Matthew
And you've been saying all year, by the end of the season, you expect him to be one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC. Well, we know that South Carolina doesn't have good fortune against LSU, but they do have Spurrier, who entered 11-1 against LSU, most of that at Florida. The Tigers have Trenton Holiday. He's fast, 7-7 after 1 quarter. Second quarter, Matt Flynn with the play fake, but that was not his best fake of the day. We'll get to that. That makes it 14-7 Tigers. Blake Mitchell has his pass tipped, and this is stick-to-itiveness. Danny McCray tips it, then waits for it, and it comes right back to him. LSU ball, 4th and 2. LSU line it up to kick the field goal. Whoa! What is going on? Flynn throws it over his shoulder. Colt David takes it in. Les Miles loves it. How often do you practice something like this, Tommy?
A lot, because if you miss, it's going the other way. And just great presence of mind right there. Great, whoa, wow. What a well-executed play.
Well, to say the least, LSU wins this one 28-16. Gamecocks do go over 150 yards. First team to do that against LSU this season. Florida, Ole Miss. You know, the Gators haven't won in Mississippi since 1994, but Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin, they don't care. That makes it 7-3 Gators. Third quarter, it's 21-9. Tebow, this time to Lewis Murphy. He's got weapons, Tom.
He's got a lot of weapons, and Florida, for the first time, was tested on the road and responded.
Because Seth Adams starts to come back, and this is a pass. On the money to Mike Wallace. Pass of the day?
It was. I think it was a pass of the day, and they exploited some of those young corners for Florida.
Tebow just too much, though. Florida record for quarterbacks with 166 rushing yards. They win 30-24. Kentucky in the top 25 for the first time since 1984. Facing Arkansas. Andre Woodson fumbles. Antoine Robinson takes it to the house. Now, Woodson did set an NCAA record for most pass attempts without an interception. 42 seconds left in the first half. Kentucky with a little payback. What goes around comes around. Michael Smith cuffs it up. Trevard Lindley there. He goes in to score. Kentucky pulls within 6. But we know the Wildcats, well, both teams have some running backs, and Arkansas has a very good one. Felix Jones this time, off the kickoff, he's gone. 82 yards. Arkansas goes up 29-21. But the Cats can come back. They did it last week to Louisville, and on Saturday night, Woodson to Keenan Burton. That's your ball game, folks. Kentucky ends up rolling in this one, 42-29. Woodson, 265 yards, 3 total touchdowns there. Auburn beating New Mexico State, and Tennessee beating Arkansas State. Coming up, the unthinkable. Syracuse puts up 38 points in a single game. We'll show you how they did it. And 2 teams distanced themselves from everyone else in the ACC. It's all coming up next on Sports Center U.
Sir, got your new appliances from the Home Depot. If you just sign right here.
Appliances? Honey, if I get new golf clubs, you can get whatever you like.
Right now, get no payments, no interest for 12 months on purchases store-wide of $2.99 or more through Sunday with your Home Depot consumer credit card. Plus, get 10% off your first purchase when you open a new Home Depot credit card account and put it on the card.
Who do the right thing. They call it being responsible. When it's a car insurance company, they call it Liberty Mutual. Responsibility. What's your policy? Liberty Mutual.
Good morning, NFL fans. It's Dick's Sporting Goods Fan Friday. So suit up with authentic Reebok NFL apparel and show your true colors. Every Friday this season, be prepared for fierce rivalries. Use every drive, every bump and run to go the distance. Wear your team out with authentic Reebok NFL apparel. Dick's Sporting Goods Fan Fridays.
So what does this Jetta have that the Corolla doesn't?
Power windows, variable intermittent wipers, four-wheel disc brakes, more horsepower, electromechanical power steering and traction control.
When you get into a Volkswagen,
does it have 6 airbags? Standard?
it gets into you.
Yeah.
Now through October 1st, get a 2008 Jetta 2.5-liter S for just $197 per month.
Monday, big-time playmakers meet in the Big Easy as Vince Young and the Titans take on Reggie Bush and the Saints. ESPN Monday Night Football. Titans Saints at 8:30.
Welcome back to Sports Center U, everybody. When we're done here, you should go on to ESPNU.com and check out the website. Get all your college football, basketball news, all the stuff that matters. And you can also take part in the Sports Nation poll. Saturday, you can vote to see which was the game of the week, and we will air that game again Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern, after Inside the Polls, which starts at 7 o'clock Eastern. Here are your choices. Some good ones there. Maryland, Wake Forest, Penn State, Michigan. But, Tom, I'm looking at that last one there. Georgia, Alabama. What's standing out there for you?
Well, I think that could not only go on the ESPNU college football game of the week, that might make classic before the weekend's out.
Game of the year?
To this point, yeah. In the first 3 weeks.
So far, so good. Syracuse, Louisville, and the Orange. This is the game of the year for them because they were just off the hook this time out. I can't describe what went right for the Orange, but something did because this is Andrew Robinson, Taj Smith.
You got to cover them.
It's Louisville we're talking about.
Cover somebody.
423 yards for Robinson, the second most in school history. Cuse on top, 7-0. This time it's Max Suter taking it back 93 yards. What is wrong?
Later, huh?
Oh, that was a good one, Tom. What is wrong with this team, though? Why can't they not tackle?
Well, they can't tackle. I think they have no confidence right now defensively, and they're voiding coverages in the passing game to teams like Syracuse. You know you've got problems.
Taj Smith again spinning off tackles, getting into the end zone. Orange just running away 28-14. It's 31-21 in the fourth quarter. Andrew Robinson to Mike Williams. Syracuse leads and they win. Jamil McClain says we're rolling on all 4 cylinders at this point for Syracuse. I wasn't aware 4 cylinders was enough to get the Orange rolling.
They need to get a V8.
It's pretty good, though. They get their win 38-35. Let's move on to Louisville, though. This is a team that gave up 38 points in this game to a team that had 32 points for the season coming into this contest. So we've talked about Louisville's defense a lot. We know there's problems. Where do they go from here, though?
I don't know where they go from here because this is a football team that I think looked at this game as a breezer, one to cruise through, get back on the winning track, and then focus on the rest of the season thereafter. And just when you start thinking that way, when you start becoming complacent, that's when you jump up and get bit. And you know what? They had nothing to be complacent about after losing on the road to Kentucky a week ago. Mike Cassidy, the defensive coordinator at Louisville, has got major league problems because a couple of weeks ago, regardless of the poor tackling, regardless of the lack of the big plays that they're giving up, I saw a team that wasn't playing hard all the time. Guys not running the football. Guys not playing with a great motor. You got to have that defensively. I know they lost to Moby Okoye. I know that they're playing with some inexperienced guys back there, but come on, they're good enough on offense, so they got to have something defensively.
And Cassidy is a holdover from Bobby Petrino, which makes this situation all the more confusing. And when you look at the numbers, it's in shambles for Louisville right now. Ouch to say the least, 32.5 points per game. They blew the game last week to Kentucky. Things just steamrolling in the wrong way for the Louisville defense at this point. West Virginia, though, their defense is coming along. They held East Carolina to 160 yards today. And East Carolina, they've looked good at times today. Not one of those days because the Mountaineers were just rolling. Check out Darius Renaud. He's a pinball wizard, Tom.
Well, look at him. Boing, boink, and then whoop, cut back against the grain. I mean, this guy, whether they get him the ball in the short passing game and he turns it into a big gain, or they use him on the end rounds and reverses, very much like we see Florida use Percy Harvin. He's a playmaking machine right now for him.
Renaud, they're a 13-yard touchdown. West Virginia up by 24, and they just run away with this one because Pat White can move like this. Tommy, those are moves.
Shake him down.
48-7, West Virginia over East Carolina. Butch Davis was back coaching in the state of Florida for the first time since leaving the U. Miami, he was taking on South Florida, and he got more than he could handle. First quarter, Mike Ford, they can't touch him. Bulls up 7-0, and then Matt Grothe to Amari Jackson. Tom, this guy was a JUCO basketball player before he signed up to play football for the Bulls.
All 6'5", 6'6" of them. He's a great red zone target.
target.
So has Ben Williams, doing it himself, taking it in. And South Florida gets another huge win. This is a team that's going to shake things up in the Big East, it looks like, as they pull out the win against North Carolina, 37-10.
I'll tell you, a team that's going to shake things up in the Big East, that's Cincinnati. Watch out for the Bearcats. They are tough. They can run on defense. They're working the two quarterback system with Dustin Grutza and Ben Mock. They look really, really good.
How about Clemson? You like how they look early season?
I know that they got a running back and maybe another one, too.
A couple of running back, and the quarterbacks looking pretty good as well. They were taking on North Carolina State. Cullen Harper to C.J. Spiller, one of those running backs. Clemson up 7.